answer the question. It was just a weird cross of fate between Aspect finding Cody on the storm line, and then Polarized picking it up at that exact moment when he went down. We'll see how Caddy's launcher plays its factor into this game here. On the other hand, though, we have a battle breaking out, and there's a big group of Marauders on the bridge looking to play spoiler here, part of this fight. You can hear the shots going off. They're just ringing. I think they have the focus on the player on the run right now. And yes, Prickly Boy's looking for the big shot. No, he's not going to find it. But my gosh, those are some great AR follow-ups.
Those are some really good AR follows with a gray burst rifle. That's a hard weapon to do that much damage with. 20 damage a bullet, but it shoots 2 at a time. It's very hard to connect 2 shots back to back with it as well. Doesn't have that extra scope on it like the epic and legendary variants do, as Prickly Boy is really pushing this one. He is going aggressive. He has 0 points on the board. We saw him go down last game. He wants to try and prove us wrong, show that he can win these fights as he drops in here, and no, never mind. He's going to show us that he's going to lose again, unfortunately. Prickly Boy, fan favorite. I'm cheering him on, but he goes down to Nobu Tragics, who is on 8 points, having a much better day today.
Absolutely. Great defense. Plays that quick reverse card. He says, not me. It's going to be you who gets taken out this time around. And that was against all odds. Let's not forget, he was hit for white damage. No shield in that battle. On Frenzy Farms, though, outside of Risky Reels, it looks like we have a little bit of an engagement going down. It's Bucky. We saw Bucky go down before, and oh my gosh, he's going to make quick work of Simple with a better angle there on the battle. You can see 31 of the current players also competed in the FNCS Invitational Finals. That was the most recent major solo competition hosted by Epic, the official Fortnite competition that has most recently occurred. So 31 players cross over into the grand finals this time around. That is ridiculous. That is so consistent.
Yeah, in what is one of the hardest formats to be consistent. We've seen it already today. One hunting rifle shot, just one mistake can end everything. Trios, at least if your teammates can back you up, maybe they can get the revive off. You kind of have a chance to go ahead with it. But solos, it's very hard to be that consistent. But some of these players make it look easy. You've got Kanata in here, you've got Stretch, you've got Booger, you've got Dubs. You've got players who have been at the top of their solo game since even before World Cup. We talked about how Aspect's even back here today. So there's definitely players who can kind of find their groove and find their rhythm. As Illest, one of them, takes the hunting rifle shot onto Tabs. Illest has a really good loadout to go aggressive if he wants to. Doesn't see the crash pads above him, but he has the pepper going, has the legendary compact SMG, something we haven't seen too much, but this loadout's one that, I mean, I kind of leaned for in a non-stack lobby, trying to just, you know, go super aggressive. You have the hunting rifle to get a long-range shot. You've got the SMG for close-range damage, but I feel like Illest probably going to have to try and get his hands on some kind of an assault rifle just to get those Storm Surge tags.
I mean, we've seen it all. I saw earlier today Tomas HD running a tactical shotgun and just a sniper with movement and double heals. So it's up to the player's preference, I guess. In this case, he's going to run that compact. I can only assume that he's going to be putting that controller to use and probably looking to bots dive into some players. And just talking about that, I mean, players like Furious did not qual through. So Lazy Lakes now being, or not having the FNCS Invitationals champ in the game right now. It's pretty big for him. On your side, though, you do see the format and how it's going to play out, guys. Just that placement.
Why they make the FNCS like elimination 1 point and normal tournaments 4 points?
Place. You don't get your second until top
I don't
50.
get it, eh?
We can see how much of a struggle it is to even make it that far.
Yeah, and that's what you're talking about. That's what you normally look at when you're looking at kind of a point, you're looking at a placement format. It's because 14 eliminations is what you need to equal a win. That is ridiculous. You've got to think how hard it is to drop 14 eliminations on the best of the best players in your region when there's so many eyes on you. There's 94 people alive. There's only 5 that have gone down so far this game. So really looking for those big placement points. If you can be like P-God and pick up some early eliminations, that's great, but he didn't get the placement as Illest. Doesn't see this player who's lurking, coming into Lazy Lake. I don't think Qua has dropped here. I think he's rotated through, but Illest having none of it. Like you said, trying to put that legendary compact SMG to use as Qua's now stuck in an awkward spot. You can't build here because of the half walls, and they're skirting them. Illest jumping up and getting shots. Qua just looks like he's reeling, just can't kind of recover from that positioning. That's all it takes. I talked about it in solos. He just mispositions, takes a fight up against the half wall where he can't build, and that's enough for him to lose it. He can't do anything, and he's just stuck.
That's it. Illest crowning himself the new king of Lazy Lakes. On the other hand, though, Booga is going to get into the box on Reverse 2K. We've already seen Reverse 2K go down once this time, and he's going to go down again. And it's not looking good. Game 1, Game 2 out of the window now for Reverse. And Booga finally secures himself some points. That's going to be one that he's going to desperately need because his Game 1 was nothing impressive either.
And Reverse, someone who has been performing really, really well recently. Obviously, had his kind of rise to prominence around World Cup, qualified for solos, had that legendary duo run with Ninja, almost managing to qualify. And since then, kind of, I feel like had a bit of a slump in between, didn't hear too much, but recently was a player that I had high expectations for, performing so well in solos and trios. And he goes down again, unfortunately. Not sure what's going on there. He reacted well, though. Booger had the crash pad, fell in through the roof. We've seen so much. Reverse managed to turn around and put the stare on his head to block it. So reacted well, but just falls to Ronaldo. No,
Whoa.
you know Ronaldo's screaming about that one. You know how good that must have felt for Ronaldo. Whether it feels good or bad, taking down a friend, but Kanata goes down in game 2, and I don't think Kanata has many points on the board. We saw him go down early in game 1 as well. Ronaldo is definitely shouting about that one right now.
Is gonna tell who's hacking.
That's right. We'll be seeing you on the battle bus, buddy. But Ronaldo, man, one of the more exciting players I'm happy to see performing right now. It's his dream, basically, to continue to put up. And all he wants to do this time around is place. He wants to place high as well. And he is on track to do just that. Someone else is on track to do big things here. Smack's been finding his fair share of early game eliminations. And we talk early because NA East in specific is just not the region to really ramp up, right? They're known to have that slower, more passive play.
Yeah.
This second game, though, looks like players are finding their confidence. Players are not trying to fall behind. They're not trying to leave it for the later half. They're really getting into the action right now. Here's A1 Sid going as far as taking the zone fights right now. And I don't think this player knows that he's in the bush.
Yeah, I think Sid would have taken the shots there, but maybe waiting for a better opportunity. Could have taken it, but he's got a very loud audio cue. That Pepper does make a loud audio cue, and so does that Bush. I feel like he's not going to get a better opportunity than the shots he just had, so playing a little bit passive here, not wanting to take the shots. Frat knows he's nearby, and he's too scared to move. Maybe Sid waiting for him to go in front so he can come in from behind, because he does have that Pepper for the increased movement, but no! Sid, he jumps down, Frat jumps into the bush, knows Sid's there, and Sid picks up the elimination. He gets the minis back as well, but I'm looking at the materials monster, I'm looking at the zone, I'm looking at everything. I don't know if that fight was worth it.
That's the thing, right? These storm fights, they hold a lot of ramifications if you do not have those heals. We'll see. We'll be paying a close attention to the zone now, to that feed, that elimination feed, to see how it all plays out. On the other side, though, Polarized this time actually secures Caddy's loot. Remember, Cody got it last game. He got away with it, but he got shut down by Aspect early on. Now Polarized has it. With 10 points already, he's confident coming into this game. And I think this is setting him up for success right now.
He needs a few more rockets, maybe 5 rockets. Not bad, but not fantastic. But that's why when you have the caddy launcher, refreshes are even more important. Getting eliminations where you can go and get the loot, and quite often players carrying those rockets is huge. But he still does have crash pads too, so he can maybe save those rockets just for the rotates, and can maybe use the crash pads to get in if he has to go aggressive. But it's Kit's mythic charge shotgun as well. I feel like the shockwave launcher gets so much attention because it is an item that is just so devastating and is so visually exciting when it kind of just creates these big moments. But Polarized, obviously showing the strength of the shotgun. He's backing himself. He's going straight up on this player's box. He doesn't technically need this fight, showing how confident he is to take it, though. This player's pushing away, and maybe Polarized, sensing that he's a little bit scared, a little bit nervous, might be someone he might want to fight because he's trying to disengage. He really doesn't want to have a bar of this, but never mind. Polarized going to disengage past it, choosing the fact that he needs to farm up some materials. Only has 39 builds so far.
And this is what I was talking about. Game 1 had the fewest eliminations before the third zone this weekend. EU notably ramps up. They go crazy with it. But NA East has that history. They're always playing a lot slower. I think this game 2, though, might be looking to set up the stage a little differently. We're seeing a lot of action from players like Polarized with the confidence coming in hot with it. Here comes the classic crash pad. He goes on in. He follows up. He finds the big crack. It's onto Rocks. And they exchange back and forth. And no! Polarized falls, and Rocks is going to be the king of Kit's mythic loot.
And that is so unfortunate for Polarized. He picked the target that he could jump in on, and I was going to say Rocks must have a heavy tac shotgun because he hit him for, I think, close to max damage. So with the change to shotguns now, tactical shotgun is impossible to be able to do 200 damage no matter how good your shot, but he did close to it twice in a row, and he falls. You can't. If you get Caddy's loot, if you are the one who's in the driver's seat, you are in the king's seat, you need to be able to continue that dominance forward, and takes one fight that he does not win, and that's it. Now Rocks has such a good position to have a big game here. Don't know if he was carrying extra rockets. I think he was. So really, really good position for Rocks. Really, really poor fight for Polarized.
Oh, what?
No.
Oh, what's this?
Things are going to catch up here, though. King looks like he found a big opportunity to slip in a couple shots here. And now he's going to be looking to engage onto this battle. It's Mackwood, though. They're going to take this one into the storm. This is going to be an important one to commit to. You got to get it over with here and now. He's only got 2 charge splashes. Yes, he goes on in, and oh my gosh, Mackwood nearly bails himself out of that sticky situation. The tactical shotgun versus the charge. It's so interesting to see them go down in the boxes because it's a matter of who catches the bigger opening shot. If you miss that charge, it's over. The tactical wins every single time.
Every single time, and Sundown was talking about it in the pre-show. There's a lot of pressure on Mackwood today. He said it out there. He stated he is going for the highest earnings in NA East in online tournaments with Zexro, one of the players he's trying to overtake, not being here in the finals. But Zexro, watching from home, I guarantee is going to be smiling at that one. They are teammates, they are friends, but still he put a little bit of beef on the line, and there it is. Vibifiers takes down Binky, who we saw Vibe go down last game, and Clicks picks up an elimination in the feed as well.
That's right, he took out COD Genesis there. And here's E11 Daxter sitting on the storm line right now, just hiding out, looking up, trying to make sure that everything's a-okay. He's got Starving Boxer right up above him, hanging, sitting low. On the other side of things, though, P-God coming straight and direct out of Holly Hedges. P-God with some of the most active elims for NA East early on in that last game. He fell on that rotating zone coming into that mid game. He only picked up 7 points. This game drastically different than the last. No elims, and finally placement point gets divvied out there. 75 players down. Storm Surge is also active. He's finally gonna find some. Makes me eat my words there. Okay, put one on the board for P-God. Can he get 2 now?
His AR aim is clinical. I was going to say as well, Stretch going down in the feed before top 75, not even getting the first placement point. So there's some big names going out here. And P-God really wants to push this loot. He's using all his crash pads to get to it. Maybe identify the player had crash pads. He did, so he's going to jump on those, grab the material, and refresh the crash pads up. So really nice play from P-God. And his AR aim today, his long-range aim, has been clinical. As we saw in that wide shot as well, that Blake, our first place contender right now, who won the first game on top of Clicks, both dropping out of Pleasant, so they're nearby. They have eyes on this, so they're going to be taking some shots pretty soon if they see this fight break out. P-God getting broken out, dropping down a little bit lower, but he still has 4 crash pads and the launch pad to make this next rotate, and there's not that many people on this edge, but as he gets closer to the next zone, there's a lot of people in the way, and this is Calc that's ahead of him, so a very aggressive, very strong mechanical player who could hold him out. But never mind, Calc lets him go, and I imagine Calc goes out and recycles that launch pad. He does, and now they both make it to zone safely.
I just wanted to break that down just a little bit further. That was a great fight to take. I know ideally you don't want to rotate out to the outer edges, but he had the short zone rotate already in his favor. That means that he was going to get to that next safety zone a lot sooner than a whole bunch of the other players. So much less pressure. I think it was worth going for all that loot at the expense of the launch pad because he completely capped off on his material now as well. This is going to be the second game, though, Aussie, back-to-back, where it's slowly but surely closing around this weeping section of the map. That means all the trees, all the line of sights that are going to block out, it's not going to be as important right now to hold a launch pad, right? They're harder to use here.
Yeah, it's very hard, especially the crash pads as well. Crash pads will break the immediate buildings around you, but they will not break the tree if you fly up into it, which can cause a lot of issues. So yeah, blocks a lot of sidelines like you said though, so you can make smart rotates, kind of use those trees to hide, or you can kind of use a lot of your wood and use a lot of your resources to build walls and then refarm it back up. But we're getting 2 very similar zones, so you got to think about which areas this kind of favors those players that are dropping. Maybe Fortilla like Dubs, as Nobu Tragics falls to Jark, his first elimination of the game, and Jark having a really nice loadout. We haven't seen the floppers be too prominent in this current season, in this current meta, but Ronaldo last game, I saw him in Storm popping a few, so they can definitely be used to pick up a few more placement points, and Jark has a good loadout right next to Tabs as well, set up on a really good side of Storm, and Illust and Berserk also over here. Zentildo going down game 1 to the headshot sniper, now has no shield, so he needs to do something to pick up his games quick.
That's right, and this is going to be it now. We talk about those trees blocking on the line of sights. It's hard for him now to actually evaluate, right? It's hard for him to read this. He's got to cross through all the players here, and there it is. Some crash pads are going to go out, so this might be a free opportunity for him to get a free rotate. But no, the opponent was actually looking to hop in on him, and oh my gosh, he's going to get hit with a hunting rifle shot from the eastern portion, and no, he gets hit again. It's Nanolite. Man, Nanolite with the downrange tags here, just looking into the action. Berserker's going to hop on top of all of that loot, and that means that's going to be his crash pads, his shields. That's going to be massive for him right now to at least keep him in the game here. On the other side, though, we're hopping over. Jack still in the low ground. see Ronaldo still in this game as well. Chelsea still in this game too.
Some big names. I believe I just saw Calc take down Lunes for the second time in 2 games. I swear he took him down game 1 as well. So obviously those two players finding each other quite often, maybe similar rotates, as I'm seeing a lot of players who are dropping the same area ending up together. Clicks and Blake have been rotating very close together as well. We saw Stretched and Booger game 1. So a lot of these big names are dropping similar drops and they're running into each other a lot. And they're having those big key interactions as Nexi trying to put that burst AR to use as he's got more than enough ammo to take some shots. And he has that rotation. There it is. Finds Keox and the Harpoon, which with all the items we've seen at the moment, with the crash pads, with the peppers, with extra meds, not a lot of players carrying the Harpoons anymore as he's just struggling to grab that extra loot. And there it is. Finds that benefit of the massive material boost. 109 builds left now and the 4 floppers so he can swap out the Harpoon for those floppers. That was a really, really good investment there to carry that.
And here's the thing, if you guys watched Tayson's FNCS Invitational victory from the EU region, he banked on having a Harpoon and taking that through to the victory royale in the solo setting specifically. Solos, Harpoon is so good when you're in solos because you are allowed to refresh yourself. We're seeing that now 2 games back to back, even in Spike's loadout here. So I feel like we're seeing a nice classic shift in the loadouts and how things are going to work out. But Spike's in a world of trouble right now. He pulls half in, half out, but he also pulls his lobby's focus. And oh my gosh, the bailout, the get out of jail free card right there. He's going to land the big charge shot. And he's still in the game now.
Still in the game. You see those Harpoons ringing out. So I think he lost a lot of the loot that he would have gained from that one. But he is still alive. He does still have those crash pads. So fully expect Spike when he finds someone here on a wall to maybe go aggressive and try and get in and get that refresh. And now on the complete other side of things, looks like a completely different game. We have Skittles just set up in a nice breezy area. Pretty far to rotate. There's quite a few people in front of them and around them as Ronaldo and Rox also over here. And remember, Rox does have his hands on that mythic charge shotgun and the mythic shockwave launch. So someone I'm expecting to shape up this lobby as Crip gets shaped out of the lobby and Skittles gets the elimination. Still 4 people to go down, Monster, until we even get our 2nd placement point. NA East is playing out so slow and so steady, just going for that consistency with the placement as Jark. I don't think he does. He spots the launch pad and he's going to go up and try and recycle it as everyone making their way to this half-half, which is already so congested. They're building a mini city here. Everyone trying to just find their spot, find their places. People are taking walls, taking fights, crash padding in. AJ finding this play on the back foot. SF on the back foot with 2 players on both of his walls. It is absolute pandemonium here, Monster.
It's looking like we're going to be shaping out to create a new top 10 right now. One of the few players I saw up there, though, Ronaldo was still in this game. Keep an eye on players like Coop, who was 3rd on the leaderboard, on the standings when we came into this. Blake's still in this game as well. So our top 3 still holding strong, gathering points, accumulating points right now, trying to hold on to the lead. They're not making it easy for the new competitors trying to step up and take this away. But it's Sid, though, with 4 points right now, who's getting active in the mid-game. He needs it, too. 8 builds his name. That means 80 material, guys. He can't get too far with that, even with the crash pads to rotate across. Okay, he's looking to set it up, though. He's trying to find anything he can. There's a little edit there, though, so he knows there was a player nearby. What is he going to do? He waits. Someone's in front of him. Okay, though. Backs up now, and yes. Pad.
Oh, he hits it. He goes up into the sky, though. Unfortunately, the Harpoon, though. He goes to Harpoon the wall, and the player edits it. So he lands the Harpoon stone, opening up the wall. The absolute worst timing. Gets the Harpoon shot, and that's the map refresh. That's what you have to watch for. Those players that have not much left, they need to have that aggressive play. They need to get something, and they claw their way back into it as Dubs hits the sky in top 10. Bully, I'm seeing Jark, so many big names still in this, but you talked about earlier, Monster, the trees. They're trying to land, but the trees are blocking them as Clicks is now making his way up onto high ground in a beautiful position. Ronaldo making his way through. P-God, Bucky, this is going to be our who's who endgame, and it's going to break down fast.
And because of those trees, and now a vertical city has been created right beyond that landscape there. We'll see how that's going to handle this lobby here, how it's going to create the layer congestion. But moving forward, though, Coop still looking for some action in the low ground. He's facing his way back to the storm. I love what he's doing right now. He still has to cross, though, so he's got a lot of seconds before the clock's going to continue to push here. Those crash pads are going to be put to use by other players. They're going to recycle them. Coop sitting a little too long back here, though. Now comes the pressure of the storm. He jumps in for the loot. Yes, he needs it desperately. No, he gets caught on the back line. With the floppers, though, he's going to be able to sit in zone for a couple more seconds. Will he have enough to get out, though? Now it's going to be the key opportunity for him to hopefully find a frag here when he needs it most. Rotating his way in. Barely any materials. Just 40 left now. This is 40 left now. This is it. Things are getting cooking here, and yes, he's going to find one. It's on to Skittles now, and that's going to be just enough. He's going to have to edit his way out. We're going to be catching up soon, though. There's 25 players in the lobby right now. That's another placement that's going to be getting out. It's going to be on to King there, Ozzy. It's still going. No. These are a lot of points. Oh, my gosh, the flick.
Coop fights his way back into it. I was going to say the Siphon came in a millisecond on time. He went down to 50 health in Storm, which means he just got the Siphon before the next tick went through. So Coop going down, but a phenomenal performance back against the wall to pick up, I think, 3 or 4 eliminations as D-Roller already having fun on the board as well, pushing forward. He's got the cabbages, got 11 builds, so a bit more than we saw what he does. He jumps down, finds the elimination, and then we see Aegis take down Booger as well. D-Roller just making his way through this one, trying to roll through the lobby like Monster alluded to earlier as Dubs goes down. So I've seen a lot of players go down who are in this top 10 scenario. D-Roller just set up in his box. He's got the cabbages. He has 2 crash pads. I don't know if he's going to go for high monster or if he's going to go into a box.
That is true, and you saw P-God there as well, still getting points, but yes, the shockwave goes out. Hold up, though. Clix is battling up for height right now against Kaz, and I think Clix has got it, but no, now it's going to be a battle of who can hold it. You see the builds there. Someone's trying to hold on to height. It's D-Roller. He's manages to make his way all the way up to the top, and he's got the biggest refresher you could ask for. 900 medium ammunition, heals to go with it, and some materials as well. This could be his game, and this could be a monster game. There's less than 10 people left in the lobby, though, and he already has 4 eliminations. Can he make it 5 here, Ozzy? He's looking for anything. He is desperate to take home this victory, to prove to the rest of the community here at the NA East region that he is someone to be feared. On the low ground, though, Clix has got a lot to prove as well. The bailout, the second point there, the follow-up elimination, and he still has the refresher too. So he has just enough mats, though. He's going to keep it going. Great layer change here.
Farms down the tree to get those extra builds, and D-Roller has to make something here. If you have this loadout, if you have high ground, you've been given everything. You need to prove that you are here for a reason, that you can close out games like this as there's 3 players alive. Clix falls to class. D-Roller making his way down. 5 builds left. The 1v1. Nobu Divine. We've seen it so many times before. D-Roller jumping his way down. We get the wide to see what we missed as Class takes down Clix, and there it is. D-Roller taking down Nobu Divine. He falls there. The shockwave launcher does come out on top. We're going to have the analyst to break down what we missed just there, because that was a ridiculous endgame.
That's right. He did it well. He did it textbook. He held that high ground and walked it through to the end of the game. Although he didn't catch a lot of eliminations, he still did a fair job finding some of the points that he needed there. We're going to be shooting it on over to the boys at the desk to break down the action. So do me the favor, Zeke, take it away.
Hey, thanks Monster for that. Game number 2 here in NA East. A little bit different, a little bit picking up the pace. We're slowly getting there. We're warming up. You know, it's all good, all good. They're waiting. They're like, hey, Zeke, just hold on. This isn't it yet. Just be patient, buddy. I'm like, all right, I got you. Don't worry. Great game there, though, coming out of D-Roller, finding himself that victory royale. Now, the question is, what do these standings look like? Coming out of this last game, we do know that Blake did get the victory out last game. The question of the day is, does he hold on, though? Let's take a look together. Sundown, break this down for us.
So I think the biggest thing to note here is, what does the pace look like right now with 2 games played? First place is averaging 13 points, and that's because Blake falling at 46 there.
Please dub. Oh, that guy was banned, man. Please dub. Please still play.
Now, the thing to note is who is able to really rocket themselves up because of that performance. The Roller, obviously, with that victory route going through, but also Kaz and Jelty pushing themselves up into 5th and 6th and taking advantage of the fact that Blake went down so early. Some other familiar names on there. Illis, who did really well during the qualifiers, except who had a strong heat performance yesterday. And then the veterans, FaZe Dubs, and Class, rounding it out in 9th and 10th, and doing it on the back of a placement style, with both only holding 2 eliminations.
The other thing I want to point out on the top of this page right here is Coop at 2nd place. You saw how he clutched up in that game. You saw how he had pretty much no chance of staying alive, and he still did it and got 1 more elim before he went down to push himself even further up. That will matter as time goes on. There in 12th place is Divine, the 2nd place performer in that game, and he got 5 elims in that one too, tied with what D-Roller did. But I wanted to note in that game how many people got eliminations. It was pretty much the entire lobby taking each other out elimination after elimination, not giving the chance for DeRoller at the top to really take advantage of that opportunity that you mentioned, Sundown.
Now we roll on over to the next page here. You can see A1 Sid 21st, Crunchy, Vanish Bully, Runon's, Cozy's, Clicks in 26 with only 2 eliminations, but that signal means he has 10 placement points in 25 thresholds. If he's able to convert any one of those, he has the potential to really rocket himself up the leaderboard. And honestly, I think your point, Baller, when talking about how so many different players are getting eliminations, is what kind of feeds into Zeke's point. It feels like it's not necessarily as exciting. That's because all that excitement is being spread across 5 or 6 different players who are picking up either 4 to 6 eliminations, rather than them all funneling into that 1, 9, 10, maybe 11 or 12 elimination performance that we saw out of Tayson earlier. But the effect it has on the leaderboard is all of a sudden, if somebody doesn't have that huge game, it's whoop, everybody's that much closer.
And that's what the Vanish Boys did take advantage of, right? Kaz and both the Roller, they've suddenly come out of nowhere, right? With these, everyone at the top eliminating each other and say, okay, you created this opportunity for us, we will take advantage of it.
And that's kind of the story of DeRoller too. Like back in the Invitational, he won that one day before we went to the Grand Finals, and I was asking myself, where did this guy come from? And he's showing that that wasn't necessarily a fluke. We're going to take a look at what happened in this one. Blake started off a little decent in this one, but like you said, Sundown, opportunities were all of a sudden given.
Yeah, and he fell over there. You can see D-Roller getting a key elimination there right on the placement threshold, going to push himself over. We talked about picking up keywords on the edge. That's eliminating health as he's rotating into zone, and it gave him priority spacing and enough materials to be able to convert over. He picks up Ronaldo there as well. So DeRoller really running through some high-level players he's used to seeing in the end game. And then once you get here, he's so good at executing in those final moments and turning it into a lead. But his org mate Kaz also able to find some huge picks. He was playing this mid-ground situation with that charged shotgun. I mean, that reaction shot there on the Daxter was huge.
And it was, no look for more through the windows. This is what these guys are so good at, no matter the situation, always still looking for the opportunity to get the consistent points out of elims that you can find in the end game. Something you're not used to is how easy it is to get end game eliminations when you play normal games. But when there's this much congestion in a tight space, you see players like Jelty be able to put people in uncomfortable situations. That's Dubs, one of the best solo players in the world, and he gets put down by Jelty because he's back against the wall.
Buena suerte, vamos, Jelty, one of our Latin American players who's been so absurdly consistent in terms of making it into the end game, and I'm excited that he was able to get a number of eliminations there because his ability to make it in the top 20 time and time again, he has such a high percentage of conversion rate on that if he's able to start getting these eliminations, he could push into potentially challenging for that top spot.
Man, this is the question, right? With 4 games left, who can do that? Who will do that? As a reminder, in EU, we thought it was all set, and in Game 5, everything was turned on its head. That could still happen. That still has the opportunity. It's not over until that last game is played, and we can take a look at the final results. Guys, we are getting ready to hop back into game. If you are tuning in, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is Grand Finals here in the FNCS. We're in NA East. We've got 4 games left to go. EU happened earlier. It's been an incredible day. With that being said, though, it is time to jump out of the battle bus yet again. So let's send it over to our casters, Monster D-Face and Aussie Antics, to give us the eyes in the sky.
And there you guys have it. You heard it from the best of the best. We're hopping back in to the FNCS Grand Finals NA East game number 3. It's Monster D-Face, Aussie Antics here on the horn to deliver the action. And the question here, Aussie, is can D-Roller, who's had a taste of success, that first place, hold it through? Because the last time he was in a Grand Finals setting, he fell short, coming 44th place during the FNCS Invitationals. But this time, he's in first place after 2 games. I don't know. Can he do it?
He's doing I think he can. He's doing really well. His placement timing is great. He's just making those extra little placement thresholds. If you look at him and Coop broken down on the leaderboard together, you'd actually imagine that Coop would be higher, right? Except for that one win. D-Roller clutched up the win and showed that he has it in the back pocket. So I think he's playing phenomenal. You said he's got a lot here to prove, and that's the thing. We've talked about it time and time again today. Once you jump up, you make yourself the target. Everyone's looking for you. Everyone knows you now, and D-Roller has been the target before in FNCS Invitationals. Can he do it in the next solo FNCS? Now, can he have the consistency as Polarized takes down Keox in the feed, which I have to think means Keox has changed the drop spot and gone Caddy, because I was going to say when we saw that map, I saw a few extra eyes on Caddy that weren't there last time.
That's right. Players trying to step it up and take the action into their own hands. Here's the thing, though. I want to set the stage up. Players that I'm looking out for that are scary, consistent, and they're doing it today already. It's players like Dubs, who already pulled a top 5 and a near top 10. Players like Jelty, who are doing the same as well, just shy top 10 2 games in a row. And players like Azers, that consistency. We know that over the marathon, that is the 6 games, that mental fortitude, having great games, even if they're not wins or big pop-offs, just making endgame and knowing your formula works is going to be able to give you the confidence to surge you through after the 6. So keep an eye out on those guys, because they have been the most consistent and the least volatile so far. I mean, if you've been watching throughout the qualifiers, we all know Dubs has some of the best placement that this scene has to offer. So he is a pioneer of rotates and making endgames. We'll see, though, as the competition continues here, because this is still game number 3 and things are just getting started for us.
Yeah, and you got to look at some of their drop spots as well. So obviously Dub's coming out of Fortilla, which means if he can get into that vault, he has a guaranteed launch pad, but it also means that he's walking away with consistently good loot. Some of these players having good games out of more shamble pass have to rely on luck a little bit more. Do you find a few stacks of minis? Do you find the big pot? Do you find what you need? Where Dubs is coming out of Fortilla every single game with what he needs. And because of the water and because of the guys in that area, the rotation paths are a lot easier too. So you're looking at players like that to be very consistent, to start racking up some of these placement points. We touched on the last game as well, but you have the placements on the right here. A victory royale being worth 14 points, and then each one of those thresholds will net you an extra point as well. So those are combined with eliminations being 1. So you get your first points when you get inside top 75, top 50, and then so on, as you can see from this graphic. But that win, 14 points. Ooh, we see Zolaf getting some really big shots onto ult. Not sure what happened there, but he also fishes up the legendary tag shotgun. So big swing from Zolaf there within 2 seconds. His game is looking very good and very different.
Listen, I was hyped that he pulled a legendary shotgun out the water and to be rewarded with the Elam right there. My gosh, talk about a nice game for Zoloft to kick things off. Not so nice game for Altu. Let them figure out what happened there. But regardless, though, on the other perspective, Bugha, who had a decent game 2, he went from 1 point coming out of game 1 to securing 9 points in game 2. That is huge. That's massive. At the start of the show, Ozzy, we spoke about the fact that you need anywhere from like 8 to 10 to be the champ on average. Bugha's closing that gap now, right? If he can have a good game 3, that's setting himself up for the great halfway mark.
I still can't believe how ridiculous that is. When we talk about a win being worth 14 points, and you have to average around 10 just to win an FNCS in one of these regions, and you're doing it against the best of the best, it is incredible, and Bugha has shown that he can do it. Obviously, your solo World Cup winner, still holding on to that mantle, still holding on to his skill, and showing that he is one of the best solo players here. He almost won one of the qualifying weeks, showing that he can still do it and perform on the day. The zone so far, he did that out of a different drop, though. He did that out of Rickety Rig, and now he's switched up to Misty, but still, Misty being a very strong drop. So far, him and Stretch having each side of Misty and being relatively safe. I've seen them taking a few tags, but they're not launching full-on assaults, and they're both playing well. As Blake, another person who has another scary name with him at his drop, clicks over here, who I believe is the one who's probably taking shots onto him, and he's only got 3 minis and a whole spot free. So these are the kind of players I'm talking about who are going those more shamble loot paths. I know Pleasant Park might not sound shambles, but when you've got another person there and you've got another people getting all the loot before you rotate, he's walking out with not that much.
Yeah, more importantly, if he gets jammed up on any of these rotates and gets tagged like this, that's where you start to fall behind quickly, because look, he's already down another mini now being tagged from an AR from that distance. And just like that, you suddenly and slowly fall behind. You lose that early game lead that you were starting to build up. Blake, he kind of fizzled out that last game. He put 21 minutes into the second game to only secure about 3 points. He fell at 46 points, or 46th place with only 1 elimination. And that's after coming after the Victory Royale with 6 elims. So he's a bit volatile right now. That halfway mark, and oh my gosh, as I speak about volatility, he falls to a headshot snipe from Stowe here. Massive.
Yeah, we talk about it. We talk about 6-game formats. We talk about how mentally grueling this is, the amount of pressure, the amount of time put into this, and then your game 3 gets ended within a millisecond like that. He falls, Blake goes down, all that loot goes over to Stowe, and now Blake has to sit back and spend 20 to 30 minutes watching, thinking about what he could have done differently, when honestly it is so hard to think what you should have done when it comes down to a headshot snipe. But at the end of the day, the rotates can be different, the builds can be different, but Blake is going to be very upset with that one, and he has to bounce back. He has to keep his mental in check because he's still on pace. We talked about it. 10 points every game is what you need to win this one. He's on 30, and this is game 3. So if he keeps up the consistency, he will be okay. But unfortunately, Blake picking up game 1 win, the last 2 games not going as great for him.
That's the rough part, right? Proving yourself, proving to the community that you're not just a team-based game player. Like, you can do it as a solo. He has yet to actually prove that. Even with the strong starts, we've seen him come out the gate swinging and then continue to fall. It just seems like that is how his history's been written time and time again. But don't worry, we still have half a competition in front of us. This is only game 3, and it is just kicking up, ladies and gentlemen. But okay, Clix has high ground. He's got the mountain on check. It looks like he's probably even put some tags down, so he might be chilling as far as the Storm Surge goes. On the other side, though, here's FaZe Dubs. He's kicking it up with Azures. I gave FaZe Dubs a lot of credit at the start of this, talking about his consistency to make it through the end game, and he's already engaging onto a mid-game fight or early game fight with the player that's in top 4. So this is 2 top 10 players potentially holding out one another here in the Storm line.
Yeah, and he has to make this rotate, but again, it's that loot. Look at, he takes the tags, but he's got the minis, he's got the bigs, he's got 6 crash pads and the launch pad. A lot of these tournaments are decided from the drop, but you have to have respect on your name. You need to have people respect you enough to not want to drop with you. Dubs obviously having done that, one of the most decorated competitive players in history, a World Cup player. He is phenomenal, and he's holding down Fortilla right now, getting the loot and getting out. He's late into this rotate. He's got the crash pads and he wants to use them. I hope he'll be able to hold on. As we now see SF, I'm not entirely sure which member of SF this is. Monster, if you know, let me know. But he's out here at the fish farm, and I think this addition to the game is super underrated. Look at the amount of fish he's able to gather here at this spot.
He's not holding them not just yet, though. He's got one more shot left in a harpoon. Let's see what he's going to be able to kind of fish up here. And that one elimination is going to be a big frag. You can see he's sitting on quite a pool of loot here. The excess material inside the box, the excess of floppers sitting on the dock here. Now that he has zone, though, this might work for him. Yeah, he's got so much to choose from.
He can hold this down. He's got all the loot in the world. He can kind of just box around this, maybe hold it and come back for it if he needs it. It's just, I haven't really seen this drop spot having too much strength, but I feel like it is such a powerful one. But I guess at the same time, you are very exposed. You need to get your weaponry around here as well. And looks like he has a good rotate, so someone to look out for. And you talked about it, people you're looking out for, Monster. I'm really looking out for Coop right now on the feed. Last game was very impressive. He was backed against the wall with low mats, pressure on him, and he performed really well. And Coop is known for that, being a very aggressive controller player who can really back himself in those scrappy endgames. But I want to see if he then has the kind of the rotates and the ability to be consistent and avoid those scrappy situations, because no matter how good you are in them, it's players like Dubs who can avoid having to be shambles that are always going to come out on top in these 6-round tournaments.
I do agree with you. Coop is on a nice little streak right now, but SF looking to get the beams down on the shots. Yes, he's going to find every single one he needs. It's going to be on to XX Shark. And I do want to give a shout out to Shark as well, someone who only played one of the qualifiers and pulled himself into the grand finals. So although he didn't put as much effort possibly as these other players, he still stepped up to the plate when it matters most and brought himself to the table this far. Who knows though, maybe that lack of preparation, that lack of seriousness is one of the reasons he isn't finding success today, but he's still such an exciting player to look out for. On the other side, another exciting player is Tabs. He's fighting another Titan here. I believe it's Avery on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, this is going to be a big engagement. As Tabs goes out, he tries to use that stair to kind of crash pad up towards height, but unfortunately messes it up. Kind of just pushes him back into his box as Tabs has to rethink how he's going to play this, because he needs this elimination. He has no shield. If this turns into a long drawn-out fight, if Avery gets a few tags on him to open this one up, it's only going to go worse and worse for Tabs. We've seen Colazo, his duo mate, doing quite well here today after game 2 was up there. I think had a good game 1, shaky game 2, but Tabs trying to make something of this one. He's kind of revealed his play though. He messed up that crash crash pad, and now Avery knows he's probably going for it. And the issue with those crash pads, as good as they are, if you go for high ground and you have predictable movement and your opponent has a good shotgun, they can really line up a nice shot on you as Tabs, deciding this is a fight that he doesn't want to take. But I don't think his opponent is doing the same thought process. He wants this one as well. He knows the Tabs is desperate. He can sense it.
No, he's fighting up against Avery. Avery's gotten his taste of being an FNCS champion as well, so you got to be careful with someone like Avery who's got the confidence in his pocket and the experience to back it up here on the biggest stages, on the biggest final days. Not everyone can speak like that, and that's going to be a shield crack. You know it's the green light, but oh my gosh, Avery walks into a monstrous charge shot from the response to Tabs, and yes, there it is, the follow-up, the big shot from the air, in the sky, the quick drop kick there. That's going to be the point, the siphon, everything Tabs is going to need to keep him in the game now.
Yeah, I talked about it. When you're in the sky and you're in the crash pad, it's predictable movement and you can charge up a shot, but I didn't think it would swing the other way. Tabs managed to pick that one up, and Fishy, someone that has been performing very well, Monster, who I don't think we've seen anything of today, so hopefully looking to have a big game 3. Needs to pick up the pace. Looks like he's doing that. He's making his way to the top, so 11 points, not bad. Doing well with a few good games. He could jump up there, but he's on the back foot now. There's 2 players in front of him trying to get some damage down, and Fishy steps forward into it, and he falls, though. You talked about a Monster charge versus tack. Even if you get a heavy charge shot, the extra fire rate on the tack, you can get off 2 shots with the tactical shotgun for every 1 of the charge, and that's what brings DGen out on top here, on top of Hypnos, and that's his high ground. And Fishy back to the lobby now on, I think it was 11 points.
Absolutely, and I was just about to start priding all the new names and faces that are breaking into the top 10, because we don't see a lot of the star veteran players up there, right? Your favorites. They're not there. This top 10 is looking totally new. It's looking fresh. It's the up-and-comers who are really thriving today. And you can see it just like that right here. Players like Class are looking to put up. I think of the only players in the top 10, it was like Dubs, right? One of the bigger names. But we'll see as this competition continues out. Fishy is one of the more exciting, new, rising stars on the scene. 11 points, not too shabby. That was about top 30, but to fall, that is a rough one. That's a tough pill to swallow. On the other hand, though, Jeltzy really firing up here. He's looking pretty good. 2 eliminations. My gosh. The Latin community must be proud. They're bringing some of the most exciting engagements that we've seen throughout any of the regions so far. As a community as a whole, I feel like the way France loves the, shows love for them in the EU region, the French community, it's the same for the Latin community here on NA East. They bring all of the excitement. They've been continuing to do that throughout the last few days here of the tournaments. But now, on the other hand, Skittles trying to rotate out the zone.
He's trying to hit the rotate in the boat, and he's got some speed, but he is far from Storm. I don't know what fight this was. Skittles been playing really consistently in the qualifiers. He was performing insanely well, and not sure what kind of led him to this point here, where he needs to kind of use the boat for the rotate, trying to get some mats as well. And he is far from Storm with no white med, so he needs to be careful. That uses the launch pad. So that campfire, I think he wanted to go for the campfire there, but unfortunately it had already gone out. So he was going to have to invest 300 wood to restart that campfire, and I just don't think it was worth it. So Skittles making this rotate, but if he gets focused at all, this is going to be a very, very rough time for him. It's kind of pushing his way forward. He has 6 crash pads, so he might even look to go a little bit aggressive, but no, finds this elimination, but no, he doesn't. The other player gets eliminated from someone else. I believe Binky just took down exactly, but Skittles was there, and Skittles pushing forward. And just like that, he's back in the game. He only gets 1 elimination, but he gets 2 players worth of loot, and I take it back. Skittles knew exactly what was going on, apparently. He had this one down.
That's right, and there you have it. New names putting it up. It's happening here right now. Skittles.
That's what I'm saying. People were hacking.
HP, so the siphon was much
now they can hack.
Very much welcome. As we talk about old
Some
heads and the
people
vets
hacking.
here. It's FaZe Dubs who's looking to put up right now. 19 points in the competition. We said that consistency. Remember, he was being held out by Azures in the Weeping Woods, but he just pulled off a massive dead side rotate. He flung his way all the way north now, coming into the lightest congested areas. He's really trying to play that into his benefit. And now having to crash that in. Oh my gosh, it's going to hurt him a lot. Yes, here comes the lobby focus. He's too late to the zone, and because of that, exactly, he gets focused out.
Unfortunate there. He didn't have a lot left in his name. He must have used a lot of the shields to try and get to that point. He only had bandages left for Med, so Dub's out of this one. Honestly, I have my eyes on Kaz. So we've been talking about new names, talking about old veterans, but there's those players in between, Monsters. Those players that have just, they've always been around the edge. Kaz, no one would consider him not a top-tier player, but he's never had that big game performance like Stretch has, right? Like winning one of those majors. So I'm really looking at players like Coop, like Kaz, who people know about, but don't have that full respect of just how good they are. And Coop putting up another elimination on the board ahead of Derola, who I believe has already gone down this game. So first place in the taking for Coop here.
He picked up Liquid Stretch right there on the rotate.
D-Roller's still here. Never mind.
Yes, D-Roller is there. He's right on the storm line. So D-Roller can still continue to put up points. You're looking at the neck and neck, the first and second place at the current standings right now here in Game 3 as we're coming into Game 3. Not only hovering behind one another, but literally closing the distance, closing the gap by finding Elam. So the action's on the feed, and you know they see it. So the red flag is up. The awareness is there. On the other side, though, Mikey looking to gather information here, peeking out of the top of his cone right now to quite literally gather as much info as possible on the lobby. What's he going to find out here? He's going to find out that Crims is nearby. Booga's up top. Kaz is right there. We're just giving him praise. That's a big name with a strong position right now. He's in the middle of zone 4. So the likelihood of pulling the next zone is very, very high.
And this zone is going to be like an interesting one. It hasn't got too much to it, though. It doesn't really have. It has a little bit of a river, as we see Nexy fall to Mikey. We don't have any big mountains. It's not going to go back through Steamy, I don't think. So this zone is going to be a bit more of a safe one. But at the same time, if you mess up your rotate, if it goes the wrong way and you get focused like Dubs did, there's not a lot of cover. Monster touched on it last game. We've seen 2 weeping zones with the trees, which gave a lot of cover from the sightlines. This game, that is not there. There is not a lot of cover. You can see how open this is. And right now, we see a player, D-Roller, who is in first place, 40 below Storm Surge, with 3 players needing to go down in 20 seconds. So with how slow NA East has been playing out, with how methodical these rotates have been, D-Roller has to be very careful here to try and get those tags or risk having to heal out Storm Surge, which we've seen that go poorly quite a number of times here in the qualifiers and heats.
You forgot to mention he didn't have any heals, so that's off the table.
Yeah.
He's got no other option other than to fight. And someone who's seeing the fight break out, it's Skittles. He's looking right down into the kind of the area where we just saw D-Roller moving through. So he's trying to see what he can find. The rockets are flying in as well, so that's the grief from the rest of the lobby, trying to get a piece of the action. I can only assume that D-Roller's down there trying to make something big happen. That could be him. No. Yes, it is him. He was on the run. He was trying to find anything to keep him alive, Ozzy. He's out.
D-Roller falls, so now Coop has got the first place for the taking. So Blake has fallen here, D-Roller has fallen, so we're looking at players like Coop, like Aegis, like Kaz, like Jelty, who are just around that area because a lot of the people in the top 10 have already gone down. So this is going to shake up the leaderboard, and this is what they talked about, the analysts talked about before this game. EU had those big pop-off 11, 12 elimination wins that jump people up. We're not seeing that in NA. It is such a tight leaderboard.
I love this. Class has actually 5 games in the top 15, the most in the NA East this weekend.
Wow.
So he's been pretty consistent. I mean, he's top 10 coming into this, and with the Elim already, and the fact that he's accruing these late game placement points, this is looking very good. We're going to be seeing Class break up inches way higher. Players like Dubs have already fallen, right? You mentioned Blake and the others are down too. So this is where the leaderboard really starts to change up, and things get a little bit closer. New players break in. We see the new breed stepping up now. 7 floppers into Class's inventory, though, Ozzy. I can't help but think that he is definitely making endgame, and probably going to be doing it by sitting in the storm just a little bit and biding his time to play some points.
You have to think, and that's what's been so scary about the current meta with crash pads. At any time, your game can end. If you're up against the wall with someone who's aggressive, someone who needs a refresh, doesn't matter how many meds you have, what weapons you have, what floppers you have, you can fall at any moment, and that's what's making this solo FNCS one of the most exciting, but also one of the most volatile. It is really hard to hold on to your position when at any time, doesn't matter where you are, something can go against you. As P-God, one of those aggressive players, no eliminations on the board so far, but only has 5 builds. These are my favorite players to watch. The ones who have the mechanical prowess, the skillful players, but they don't have what they need. You know they're going to go down swinging. They need to make something, and P-God's looking for it. He has 2 chug splashes. He has no utility, no movement, only 6 builds. How is he going to find his elimination? How is he going to get back in the game? He has rotating zone, so he's here in the position where people are going to have to make their way towards him, and that's where he's going to try and jump on them. He's going to be ready to pounce. He's going to try and capitalize on someone not aware of the fact that he's in these builds maybe, He's trying to lean on the AR. He has that sniper as well, but late game, it loses a lot of its effectiveness when things are moving so fast. But if anyone can land the shot, it's probably going to be P-God. He's down to no builds now. Does not have a single build to his name. On the high ground, and there it is. He finds elimination, not on anyone, but on Kanata. And Kanata normally going into these end games very stacked, so I believe P-God will be able to fish up that loot. He'll be able to grab maybe those minis and extra material, and that's just it. It's why we love watching these players when they're on the back foot. What can they do to claw their way back in the game, Monster?
That was a nail-biting clutch right there. The impact to find the loot that he needed. On the other side, though, here's the wide shot of the player still in the game. Aspect, reverse, Vanish, Jack still alive. I see Coop still up in there, accruing points as things go on. P-God still alive on the low ground. We're going to be hopping in with Class, who's going to find himself ace here in the mid. We talk about Class was top 10. He wants more. He wants to get closer and closer to top 5. And look, 4 floppers still in the inventory. We knew that it was a no-brainer he was making it this far. He can still continue to do more. I'm seeing players like Colazo as well, alive in the high ground. Out comes all the crash pads, though. The rotates are happening. Calc, who's been struggling so far in the competition, will he be able to make it to the end as well? He needs these points desperately now.
And we haven't, the mythic items we haven't seen at all today, except holding on to that mythic Chug Jug and that mythic burst AR. Does so much damage. The Chug Jug so hard to get off at this point, but except looking to make something of this, has 1 crash pad left, not using it here for the rotation, maybe saving it for an impact, but 33 builds. He's managed his inventory well. He's gone to endgame. He's still got the minis. He still has the mass. These are those players who aren't in a position like P-God. They're not looking for desperate eliminations. They're trying to control sidelines like this and keep themselves a little bit safer on front sides. He has the edit, a 27 white tag. He might get that elimination to Storm. No, the player comes back right. It was Ronaldo. Ronaldo goes down just inside top 30 as Colazo picks up an elimination. This leaderboard is going to be so tight at the top, Monster.
It's already changing. That's right. Accept is ramping his way up as is Class. These were 2 players in the top 10. Now breaking for top 5. They want more of the cake. They want bigger pieces, and they want to eat it too. Right here, right now. On the wide shot, though, no one is king of height. Everyone is going to have to battle it out. Accept here is going for the 15-second big chug heal off play. He's trying to get as much HP as possible, approaching the last end game. This is probably the final time he's going to be able to do it. On the other side, though, Class behind the wall steps out, and yes, eats one up right there, just like that. The big follow-up, the 30 elim, and the shockwave launcher to follow him in, but it might have been a misplay. He has to bounce his way back in. Up to the high ground he goes, and he is out of material. So what is he going to do now with only 1 play left? It's to go up. It's the challenge high ground. He sends someone flying, and yes, they go out into the lobby, into the storm. And now Class has to do more, though. It's a battle against the grappler. Can he do it? Yes! He follows up the monster shotgun shot. And he still has more. He jumps down onto another player. Oh my gosh, he is tearing it up now, Ozzy. It's back-to-back eliminations here. And he is clearly in first. And if he can close out, he'll continue to hold the lead.
He's on high ground, a 1v1v1 with Calc and Accept on the low ground, who used that mythic Chug Jug late game to get him to this point. He falls to Calc. Calc 1v1, but is it? Are we going to see the mythic charge shotgun come into play? The mythic shockwave, he does. Class gets the elimination onto Calc, but that is a big game for Calc, and Class on 38 points. Someone that we were talking about a little bit was just outside that top 10, and he is very, very much at the top now.
From 20th after game 1 to 3rd coming into game 3, and then in game 3 with a victory royale, and a strong victory at that. Don't worry though, boys, we're gonna be sending it over to Zeke Sundown. I believe Bala, who's still up on the table right now, to break down that action for us, because that game was phenomenal.
Bro, it was in fact a lot of action finally kicking off. Of course, action has been happening. You know how I am though. Here, great win there from Class, ending on the 38 points. This is going to shake up the leaderboard quite a bit. Now, gentlemen, we do have to take a look at the standings as we are now wrapping up halfway point here in NA East. We've only got 3 games left to go. And Class right now, he's making a strong running for that first place spot.
I mean, not just a strong running for it, he's secured it. As Monster talked about, his placements have been so absurdly good. 20th in the first game, but then after that, 3rd place with 2 elims, and then following it up with the victory royale and 6 elims, pushing him 3 points clear of Coop right now, 5 points clear of Accept. And honestly, the story has been about those 3.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, you already mentioned the average placements for all of them. It's so close. It's so tight. Right around 10th place is where they're placing pretty much every game, but that also comes with its risks. The Roller is a player who will go on the opposite of that. He'll have one big game every so often, and that gives them the opportunity to really catch up if there's an opportunity like we saw in Game 2 where Blake fell after winning that first one.
Yeah, now you can see we flip on over here to the next page. Jelty, Azures, not builds, built by gamers AJ, Illis, Nobu Tragics, Vanished, Jock Hugh, OT Polarized, Energy, Ronaldo, and FaZe Dubs rounding out the top 20. That's 19 points there. Don't forget the lead currently is 38, and there is 3 games remaining. So Calc, even with that second place performance, only up to 24th right there. It's going to take another big game, but nobody's quite out of it yet with still half of the competition to be played.
Man, I'm waiting for that tonal shift. I'm waiting, like, you can already tell it's so tense in NA East. Everyone's just, like, holding on. They're hoping to not misstep. And you can tell in the way that they're all playing. You can see that. You can feel that.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, these guys are all putting it out there. They're playing with passion. They're really making it so that every single game they try their best to get to that end game. There's certainly players that I'm seeing do that because we saw Kaz in a little bit. Coop as well has been dominating, clutching, and making sure that every last second is spent for him in getting eliminations.
Yeah, and of course, there's a lot of action happening here in NA East, but don't forget, this is a global competition. We actually have the results from Brazil, so let's take a look at those to crown a new FNCS champion in Brazil. Now, do keep in mind, this is going to be a little bit confusing, but we have 2 Kings at the top of the leaderboard. The Kings I Will Not Lose Sundown takes it all home.
And at the end of the day, all hail the King, and the King is from Argentina, or Todo Salve al Rey y es de Argentina. King, 5th place at the World Cup, taking it home, and he did it by winning the first 2 matches. However, SNG King turned around and won matches 3 and 5 to put pressure on him. However, King was able to hold on at the end and edge him out by just 2 points. You can see Brazil is a region of kings, but at the end of the day, the Argentinian one edged out Singularity's King from Brazil. You can see PH is in just behind the track there in 3rd as well. Xenix God in 4th with 50 points. Kadu in 5th. Phaser, a user there as well. As we flip on over to the next page, Techno Viking, a name we've seen before. History, Mohaj, Rendley, a number of players here. But congratulations to all of them for even making the grand finals and having a fantastic FNCS run.
And I gotta say, looking at that top of the leaderboard and pretty much all of this, it's so tight. And the Battle of Kings is one that I'm going to have to go back because that might go down in the history of competitive Fortnite as one of the better tournaments to ever watch just because of the interesting and intrigue, but still so many people to shout out. Laleo 26th, Sturmix 24th, Hawk is blessed in 25th. So many people made it so far in the FNCS, and just like all the other regions, we have to congratulate everybody because it's a significant performance no matter where you placed.
And big shout-outs particularly to King and Mix because they are part of that exclusive club who have made every single tournament who has gone through since the World Cup in all of the FNCS finals. You saw Nix there in 29th, and then King taking away the top spot. So that's absurd consistency from those guys.
Yeah, yet again, big congratulations there to King. But of course, Fortnite fam, the action is not done here in NA East. We are going to go to a break, but when we come back, we'll have the exciting conclusion here in the FNCS. We'll see you guys in just 5.
Ooh. This guy's crosshair was too good. Oh. Whoa.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS. I'm your host, Zeke. Joining us here on the analyst desk, we got Sundown, we got Shy Wager, and we've got games on deck. So we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to keep the ball rolling with 3 games left. The biggest question of the day is, will Class hold on? Can Coop come out of nowhere? Will some third player rise to the occasion? We'll find out as we enter this next game. Aussie Antics, Monster D-Face, take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you so very much. And that's right, Fortnite fam. We appreciate you guys for tuning in all around the world. To give you guys a little context as to what's going on here, it's the NA East Grand Finals, and we are halfway through the competition now. This is game number 4. Aussie, what's going on?
Oh, lots going on, mate. There's so many people who can overtake it. Normally, as a caster analyst, you start looking for the big names. You do your research. Who's going to come out on top? Who's looking like they're the favorite and really kind of like banking on them? But it's anyone's game, which, in my opinion, can be even more exciting. It's so exciting making these new names, giving them a chance, right? All of these players we've been talking about today as the big names, the vanguards coming into this, like Dubs, like Booger, like Stretch. They were nobodies at some point too as well. Not everyone knew who they were. And hopefully today, we have a chance to crown a new champion of NA East, a new name to look out for, and Class looking like he might be one of them.
That's right. I mean, with the amount of points he's already pulled up and the Victory Royale, things are looking to start to break away there towards the top. I mean, Class with 38 points, Coop with 35 points. and except with 33 are all of our top 3 runner-ups, and they're the only ones in that 30-plus point threshold right now. So it is looking like it's going to be a breakaway game, somewhere around that 50, 60, maybe even 70-point threshold mark. We'll see how far we end up getting. There's your format breakdown. Oz, why don't you explain to the people at home how this all works?
Yeah, so obviously you got Victory Royale is worth 14 points. That's if you win the game. You're going to walk away with 14 points. You see the different thresholds beneath that. So second place is still 11 as well. The first set of placement points is top 75. So if you out-survive 25% of the lobby, you're going to pick up 1 point, and then top 50, and then it progressively gets faster. So as you can see, these thresholds a little bit wider. So the early game, you have to survive for quite a while to start to get any points on the board, really. But if you get right to that top 10, top 20 area, they start ramping up fast. And that's exactly what Class has done today. The reason why I have a lot of confidence for Class going forward is he has an average placing of 8 in 3 games. That is huge. He only has an average of limbs of 2.67, but we've seen that placement comes out on top in this format and in these grand final days, and dropping Shark somewhere far away, who so far looks like he's uncontested, if he can keep that up, if he can keep getting those placements, it's going to be huge.
It is right, and don't worry guys, we have all the action ready to be covered here today. It is unfolding all across the Fortnite world map. Here's a little highlight from earlier. Coop's nice little sniper shot right there from that steamy stacks. And this is how he ended up getting that first elimination that pushed him into the Weeping out of his rotate on out. Now he's in the safe zone, off to a very good start. That's 1 step closer to catching up to Class, who's only, or at that point, was only 2 points ahead of him.
Yeah, and Jelty was in 12th place too, so Jelty going down there, very unfortunate one for him. You've talked about, obviously, the Latin American community, and unfortunately, one of their heroes going down, but Jelty can jump back into it. Someone else who's around that spot. You also have Kaz, who I've said is someone I'm expecting to do well here today. A little bit of an underdog coming into it. Only 1 mini and 1 chug splash going into the bush, needing that refresh. Maybe I spoke too soon. He has the build control, though. He's backed this one off quickly. Needs to try and get that splash and the mini off, but he needs to close this fight out. There is no disengaging. There is no second chance. He's taken this fight. He has to finish it now. He doesn't have the loot to get away from it. Kaz on the back foot, and no, I've cursed him. Aviv getting the elim, throwing some disrespect down, and Kaz, unfortunately, something went wrong in this game.
Kaz was tied for 4th place there. So him being out of the competition now is going to be huge for him in his standings and how he's going to be able to shape himself out the rest of this competition. And he fell to someone who's on their way up. Like, Aviv is doing pretty good right now, 18 points. So that's that. Here's Illisto on the other hand, a more relevant fight right now as he's on the hunt here. The crash pad on in, the shield crack, and that's going to be the green light to step on in. Look at the swiftness of the edits here. He's not playing around, and no hesitation even trying to crash pad on in now. And this is looking closer and closer. That additional pressure from the outside is probably going to be the only reason that Alts is going to stay alive right now.
Yeah, and I don't think Illis is going to leave that going for long. I think one of these players is going to fall here. Illis doesn't need this fight. He still has some meds, but he wants to take it, but never mind. Altu using that defensive advantage to get the elim. Now he's crash padding in. Illis crash pads out, something we haven't seen too much. He predicted the crash pad in. Instead of trying to hold the angle, knowing he had the health disadvantage, he used one of his own crash pads to break out and get away from that. But I see a 3rd player coming into this one. No, never mind. It's still the same 2. The henchmen are looking on, though, but Illis trying to close this one out. Will he come out on top? He's up against the wall. The player edits, and a very risky edit right in Illis' face. And if he wasn't reloading, Alsu would have been put in the back pocket there, but now he falls 84th, and Illis gets his first elimination of the game, and a good refresh. If you look at what he just gained off that player, luckily Altu is pretty stacked as well, so Illis gets his shield back, gets a lot of the crash pads back, and he's looking pretty good for what was a pretty dicey fight, Monster.
More importantly, he gained the point off of that because he needs it now. That's going to put him 1 step closer to top 10 there, which right now, the cutoff line for top 10 is 23 points. So 21 now for Illis is pretty massive here, considering we're getting closer and closer to more placement and that mid game right now. Remember, we did jump in with just a few minutes already into the action, so it's a little bit of a deeper setting here now that we're kind of hopping on into. On the other perspective, though, just think about his loadout now. It's all coming together here. He's got shields for days. He's got rotates to play off of. All he needs now is to continue to max out this material and make his way to safety here. But it's not looking too good. He's got a lot of pressure and focus coming in from different players.
He's got one player behind him and a lot of players in front. So if he takes this fight here, they've got to close it out quickly and not bring too many eyes on them, because now they're making a lot of noise. And those players that are just inside Salty Springs will have eyes out here now, knowing the players coming in. But Illest is really playing aggressive here again. He's pushing off just a couple of AR tags, but luckily for him, the third party that almost eliminated him before actually helps him this time around. And Crypt going down. Illest, 2 eliminations on the board and an even better loadout now, picking up the one thing he didn't have, which was a launch pad. So Illest's aggression paying off in spades here now. 2 on the board and a lot of extra loot to show for it.
Not only that, he has a few options as well, from heals to pick from, floppers and chug splashes both. Agers, on the other hand, though, playing this cone right now. 24 points here. He was just on that brink of breaking out. He's in top 10 now, if you think about it, because of the fact that we did have someone get taken out there as well just at the start for Skittles. But you got to think about it. The zone's closing in now. There's a bunch of players behind him. This fight here, oh my gosh, the cone's going to play off. It's Rox who walks right into what is basically an ambush from Azers. He gets rewarded with all the loot as well.
Gets all the loot dropped down onto this ultimate low ground layer, so he's dropping back down into these old builds. So he's going to try and hopefully expand out here, because Fatch coming in to try and take some of this, and also this player seeing that he's maybe a little bit weak, or assumes that he's a little bit weak, trying to take some shots in from the side, and yeah, just a big ambush there. And that's what you see. Do you have the confidence? He could have stayed in that cone, player had no idea he was there, would have held on to the placements, but having the confidence to be like, no, I've got the advantage, I've got the drop, and going for those fights, and that's what you want to see. Today's the day of day. It's the grand finals, and you need to be able to back yourself, as you see Haji put back against the wall. Someone I said to look out for, who actually won one of the games in the heats to qualify here on 20 points. So not a bad performance by any means, and he was caught off guard there and just relied on pure reaction time and aim.
Massive eliminations worth 2 points, because the 75th placement threshold was broken as he converted. So just like that, 18 to 20 points now in the game here. This is Grand Finals Day. This is the halfway mark of the competition. Game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. So after this, that's it. They only have 2 more opportunities. You do not want to get sent back to the lobby like Sid here, who was doing so well up until now. But there it is. He met the red light. He's got to park his car here till later.
He's going to have to try and come back into the next one, hopefully hit the green line and push forward. Might have to hit the gas as well. He's doing well, but he's not too far up on the leaderboard. And there is big prize money today. $50,000 US for first place. That is how much the players got for qualifying for World Cup. So this is big. This is a big stage set here. And these players really are going to have their eyes set on the top. And we broke down the prize pool before the show with the analysts, and it does start to get real heavy around that kind of top 5. But there is big money to go out today. 1 point, 2 point can be the difference between a few thousand, or even we saw in Europe, sometimes one elimination. You were talking about a monster with me in the pre-show. Some players going down in their last game, they were like $20,000 and $30,000 swings in a single fight.
Yes, that's right. This is life-changing prizing on the line here. And that's not it. It's the glory as well. It's to prove to the community, to your peers and friends, that you are one of the best. And all that practice you've been putting in is going to be well worth it here. This is a big rotate for Accepta, who's in top 10, who's now getting pressured in by Booga. We saw he didn't have any shields. With the upgraded AR now, if he finds a shot here from this epic AR, it's going to hurt. It's going to do a lot of body damage. There it is. It's 35. He's close enough. It only takes 2 body shots to finish him off because of the additional pressure from the rest of the lobby. And now Booga is keying his way towards the loot, but there's someone else on the other side of the wall. It's not going to be for free here. He's going to have to fight for it. And yes, he is now in a weird situation now, sitting on top of a bunch of enemies, but it's okay because he is safe for now. No more heals left in Booga's inventory. How is he going to bounce back in the competition is the big question now.
I'm looking at that hunting rifle. I mean, Booga, we used to see him in the driver's seat as well. The weeks we've seen him do so well, he starts off strong and he finishes strong as well. So Booga having a bit of a shaky start, needs to claw his way back into it. He's not performing poorly, but needs to pick it up a little bit. As we see here, 4 of the top 5 players have placed top 25 in all 3 games, showing how consistent it is at the top. And Age is picking up Thatch, getting a big refresh. So like we said, Monster, this isn't like EU where we see someone getting a big win and running away with it. Everyone's trading up, everyone's playing consistently, and it's going to 100% come down to the wire. So far, none of these players have shown they can jump that 10-11 elimination win. As we jump onto a replay with Skittles, who's on only 46 health, who needs to make something happen. Crash pads in the back pocket, trying to push back forward, trying to hold off a third party and a player aggressing from behind. And it's just the lobby focus. Doxy Fishy picking up the limb. And Skittles, someone who's been doing very well here today, going into this game on 6th place, falls just like that.
I love how we gave props to players finishing in top 25, and just like that, 5th and 6th place are now down outside of the top 25. Very far from it, but it is okay. The competition is still raging on, and there are still more opportunities up ahead. It's a matter of who can bounce back and really pull it all together. This is a very crucial zone to make a proper rotate out of. Someone like Booga is going to need an impact soon. He's going to find one through the floor there just in time as the build is freshly coming in. And he's going to be sitting inside some enemy kind of builds now. He's trying to see if there's some free loot down there. He's probably going to want to take advantage of this. And remember, he did just tag the player down there as well. He needs this as much as the guy in front of him, and that's a free tunnel he's landing into. We'll see now if Booga can find his impact elimination, or will it be the end of his run right now? It's going to be up against Not Builds, who's on the other side. So here it happens. The crash pad's going to come out, and now he's forced into defense. He only has 45 builds, guys. This is not a lot.
Ooh. He's got to secure this. He has to get it. He does, and he gets the elimination for it too. So obviously we had the Nobu member Pabstale on the back foot as well, trying to push for that one. I saw it. There it is, the mythic Chug Jug. When you're going into endgame with no builds, no material, nothing, Booga needs to secure this. He can't walk away from it. The zone's coming in. Someone else took it. He didn't get the crash pads. What did he get? Did he get the material? And did he pick up the infinite Chug? We're going to have to find out when we jump onto his perspective later, because he needed those meds bad. And I was just going to say, as much as those players haven't really had their big game, any of these players can. We've talked about it. Who's who? Booga, Stretch. Players who have shown in qualifiers and heats, they can drop 8 to 10 elimination wins. If one of them does that soon, we're going to see a big jump up from someone else, and the leaderboard at the top is going to get even more stacked.
That is so true, and this is the time to do it halfway into the competition. We've seen players like Stretch pull off the marathon run, the back-to-back big games that he needs in the past. But if players like Blake stay consistent, these are the names that we're going to see continue to rise on up. Remember, Blake was shut down in the previous game, so this is a massive game for him right now. And he's doing big things for what is just a normal, common AR, showing that you do not need an upgraded loadout to make big plays. It is just dangerous in any hands of the best players. These pros find ways to make it work where the normies cannot. But we'll see, though. Azer's, on the other hand, looking pretty good here. He's trying to get into some action. There's a player underneath him, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what's so important about the consistency. Blake drops a 14-point victory royale from placement and 6 eliminations. He got 20 points in game 1, and I believe he was on, what, in there? He was about low 20s, 23 or 26 from this game, so that's a real big issue for him. He needs to find that consistency, but if he drops another win as Aegis trying to use his crash pad to go forward into this box, and this is a half-half zone that they now have, so that fight was so huge, because if Aegis managed to win that, not only was he going to get half-half the elimination, he was also going to get Kit's mythic loot. So Aegis falling there so close to what could have been the game he needed, as Stretch is now below it, and Keox looking to have his game. If Stretch is in there, if Stretch gets his hand on this shockwave launcher, at the start of this season, he was known for it. He was playing caddy corners in solos. If anyone could win a game with that loot in the back pocket, it's going to be Stretch. And if he's identified that player has it, he is not going to stop until he gets it.
But guess what? Our first place is still in this game as well. It doesn't matter what kind of mythic loot is out there in the battlefield right now. It still needs to shut down what Class can do. And we saw if he gets his hands on something, he runs away with the competition. First full moving is going to be coming in soon, and he's kind of in a shambles situation. He's middling as far as his loot goes. Only 30 builds. He does have just enough heals and stuff to hold him out. But it's not too much. It's not the winning loot that you want to see coming into this late game. The zone is going to favor him for what it's worth. So it gives him a few more beats here to look back and see what he can find, to see if he can pull some elims. He doesn't have a single frag right now. Remember, top 40 is the next placement that can be given out. So he can effectively walk away with still a few points just worth of placements alone.
Yeah, 3 points of placement would be good, but he's got to pick up that pace as well. He's got to keep up the pace, sorry. Eyes are on him. He is in first place right now on 40 points. And last time we saw him when he got the win, he had 7 floppers. So it is. It's looking like a very different loadout. And again, these are the players you want to watch out for who need something soon. Again, I know Zate coined it best. Do you have the loadout you need to win this game? No? Then get in. Try and get an elimination. That's exactly what Class does. Identifies that he hit him hard, but it's probably going to take too long to finish that one off. So now he's trying to find it. He's not just resting on what he has. And this is what you need. Takes down Uzi. You need the confidence when you're in first place. You're not holding on to your lead. You're pushing it. You're putting the pressure on those around you to jump up and take over control of this tournament. Make everyone put eyes on you and feel the pressure. And Class is not feeling the pressure here. He is putting it on everyone else with a big elimination. And now look at the loadout difference, Monster.
And more importantly, put the launch pad there, but it's not going to be enough. Dwal's going to walk right through him, from right underneath his feet, breaks into the box. Names that are still here, though. Booga has high ground, battling it out with Keox. Keox, who has the mythic loadout, though. He does have the shockwave from Kit. You can see it coming into play right there. On the other side, Calc making his way to another endgame as well. I see AJ, Coop still in this game, too. This is his opportunity. Only 2 points separates himself from second place to first place. Can Coop do it? He already has an Elin this time around, and he's got just enough loot to continue to inch his way forwards. But he's going to need something big here. He's going to need the impact elimination to keep him in the game, because he's even running out of medium bullets as well.
But this is where Coop shines. I said it last game. When things get scrappy and he drops down with that shotgun in hand, you can never count him out. We saw him get, what, Monster? 3 eliminations on less than 10 health after all the siphons. He was hitting shots the millisecond he needed to survive, and that's what I expect him to do here. Coop on the back foot now, has the splash. He's going to get them off, but what does he do next? How does he find the elimination he needs? There's a lot of players around him right now who will be running shambles as well. He's going to hit the crash pad and try and find something. Pushes him nice and far forward, but where is this player lurking? Where is his elimination that he so sorely needs? He's trying to find them, and there they are. They're behind him. He finds it onto Tabs. Tabs falls here, and Coop gets a little bit of the mats he needs, but no, he only gets 1 extra build out of it left to his name now, but Coop is pushing forward. He's getting towards those big placements, Monster, at 17 players alive.
Not only that, though, the zone favored him when he needed it most there, swinging right back in his direction. So there you have it. Coop still in this game. Don't count him out just yet. On the other side, though, Crunchy now down to 7 builds, has to do something massive in the low ground. He's looking for any kind of frag he can find. This could be his big opportunity here to find the impact that he needs. On the high ground, though, Keox is still doing something big. And there you have it, Ozzy. You called it. Coop still making things work with nothing in the inventory. Not in the low ground. Someone's right in front of him. He actually gets to the cone. He's just trying to stay alive now. Any placement matters. Remember, he's in first at the moment.
He's jumped up into first. Eyes are on him now, and Coop needs to hold on to the pressure. Can he deal with it? Haven't seen him in this first place position so far this tournament, but he's doing so well. The white tag from behind has to drop back. He's pinned between this player and zone, but no, he can go forward. And there's another player. He misses his shot. Shot and no. The first one we've seen him miss, and he needed it so badly, but Coop having a phenomenal performance again, going down to Crims. Crunchy on the bottom ground. We saw Sundown talk about it yesterday. Does he like it, Crunchy? Does he like it smooth? Let's see it. He's going forward. He's pushing in, trying to find his way around the corner. 27 points, no builds, 4 eliminations. I saw a big game using that harpoon to push forward. Takes down Booger. He gets the elimination. Booger falls here, which is a big game for him as well. And Crims, the double elimination, back-to-back dubs falls too. So we're going to have such a tight top 10 as Crunchy wants to push his way and cement it higher. The harpoon coming in clutch right now to get him forward, and there's a bunch of loot there. I believe Keox is still on the high ground with the shockwave launcher, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Can these players win? Can they overcome the shockwave launchers? We've seen it be so devastating. It's now rockets dropping out too. Crunchy on the low ground has everything against him, but he's holding it strong, still has builds left to his name, has 4 left, 6 eliminations. Keox goes back up with the shockwave launcher. Crunchy scrambling, jumping in and out of zone, trying to find the angles. The AR comes out and no, he falls. Keox in zone, gets the siphon, which could be enough to keep him in it. Nanolight on the high ground, the silent assassin in the back pocket, trying to close this one out, and Keox wins it in the heel off, and Nanolight can't get back into Storm, and we see 22 points with a 6th elimination win. He got 20 of his 22 points in 1 game, Monster.
That's the kind of win that you need right there to throw you back into the conversation, back into the game. He took the full-on AR battle, standing toe-to-toe in the zone, at his own demise there from the shockwave. Either way, though, we're going to send it over to the table, to the boys at the main desk to break it all down. Zeke, take it away.
Thank you so much, Monster. Kyox there, finding himself the victory royale. And boys, We're seeing the caddy launcher. We're seeing these mythic weapons finally in play equals victory royale. It's happening.
A story as old of time. I mean, we've seen it pretty much every single time throughout the heats and until now. It doesn't matter whether it's the person who started with the caddy launcher, with Kit Shockwave launcher, or not. If you pick it up, you have a big advantage going into that final 1v1.
Absolutely. The question is, for the people who didn't have it, how does the overall standings look now? It is Coop all the way at the top spot, in first after that dominant survival at the low ground. No wins, but look at those eliminations resulting in 45 points.
Wow,
and the thing I want to note about Coop at the top is he stays holding on to that 10th average placement. That Sundown in the previous standings look said that he needed to maintain. There is a big, scary moment for him, though. If he falls in any of these, that is the opportunity for someone to rise up. And Blake did just that in the last game, getting right back up into fighting chances.
And this is what happened before. I think in almost every competition Coop has been in, he's had a top spot, third or first, but then faltered and tripped. So he has to break the pattern, break the curse, hold first, and then win out for the whole day.
And where will any of these other guys end up falling? On the second page, there's still some big sleepers. Kaz, who's been playing very well, has fallen all the way to 11th. Dubs as well, starting to rise up. Same with P-God, who has had 9 eliminations in these games, so definitely feeling the magic that he is used to, but there is a big impact of these guys who potentially could rise hugely in the standings, like we just saw from Keox. That is a rise in thousands of dollars potentially if you end within that top 5.
And that's what we saw in EU, right? Like, we knew Tayson was going to walk away with the victory, but when you're looking at that big breakdown in placement, the prize money that you could walk away with, you're trying to hit those top spots, right? Like, that's what these guys have to do. They have to come out swinging. They have 2 games left. They need to make the performances that will literally shape history and make it their own. Because right now, it's make or break time.
Yeah, a lot of people have made their performance stand out now in game number 4. We saw Kings take out the first game in that last game near low ground. Now he's sitting in the top third. Similar to a lot of players, they have their pedestal now to boost off of and then shoot for the top 10, shoot for number 1. It is still anyone's game.
And that was actually the second game in a row that Crimson has played very well in towards these end games. There is some serious moves being made by other players that we might not have necessarily seen. We saw him definitely in both of the last end games. We'll have to see if he can continue it.
That's right. I mean, as we kind of break some of this down, we've got 2 games left. There's a lot of these power shifts happening, a lot of players making moves, others falling. I mean, again, as people are eliminated, that's it, right? They have to wait till the next round to earn more points while others are allowed to kind of step forward. But Keox, I mean, he made this game his own.
Yeah, let's just stop back and look at exactly how Keox won that last game. Maximum amount of ammo and loot to boot. There's some nice shots all the way there in the mid-ground. Once you are loud and heard afterwards, you go all the way to height, start dropping down. Mid-air, 70 damage tag to wrap that up on low ground with another quick shockwave up. Look at every single use. We're pausing on him to show you the decisions that he's making in fast reaction times. Getting these shots down from long range, from beautiful moments and shots all the way outside the zone. They just connect for Keox.
In the final moments, too, the confidence to go for those AR shots at long range, to take out Crunchy and then nano it in the final seconds. That was brilliant from Keox, and he makes it work. Again, this opportunity that we keep harping on Zeke, its potential for thousands of dollars if he can make it work one more time.
Yeah, man, we've only got 2 games left. We can't stress this enough. For you guys watching at home, every time these players interact, it is going to dictate whether they are moving up or down the leaderboard, right? Again, if someone is eliminated, they have to wait. They have to sit there and think about what is, like, the mistakes they've made. With 1 game left after that, we're going to see some players rise. We're going to see more players fall. That is the story. That's how this kind of just unfolds sometimes. You know, you hate to see it, but there's got to be winners and there's got to be losers.
Yeah,
I was pointing at you, Shia.
You're pointing at me. I thought you were grabbing for yourself. I got this. Listen, I'm stunned, right? Because I'm trying to over-process and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the next game. Not even joking, because we're looking at Coop holding these down up top. We're looking at NA East being unpredictable once again. Usually we have a 1v1 near the top. That is not the case this time. It's close, ball of field.
Thank you for being very clear who you're talking to. Look, it's close still at the top. I mean, Class, who just had that previous massive game, is still there. He's only within 3 points. So keep that in mind. 3 points is all it takes. Zeke.
Thank you guys for that hard throw. With that being said, we are getting ready to get into our next game on the day. So let's send it over to Monster D-Face and Aussie Antics to take us in.
We appreciate you so much. Zekimus Prime there, Ball CW, and of course Shayo Wager for the
Can you add me?
breakdown of
I have
where
no
we stand
mic.
right now, right here in the competition. But like you guys mentioned, the rising and falling, that's like the tide. It's like clockwork. These are things that are going to happen. And if this is a high tide for Coop or Class, they're going to run away with the
By the
competition
way,
here.
Yeah, high tide, and who's going to run into the drought, though, as well? Some people could have it. We saw it in EU. We saw a player rise up so high in Game 5 and then go down early Game 6 and have to watch it close out. So we get a far southeast zone, which I don't think we've seen too much of. And this is where I'm looking eyes on caddy corners, where they can now take their time with those fights and really dictate who gets those powerful weapons. I'm also looking at players like Stretch and Booger. I talked about it yesterday when Stretch played his heat. He had really struggling games when they went north. As soon as zone started to pull south, he had some huge games. So we could see someone jump up out of nowhere who isn't a nobody. It's crazy how some of the biggest names of this finals aren't up there on the leaderboard, but they could be at any time. A 10 elimination win is 25 points.
You there.
That is over half the person who's in first place right now. So some of those people who are a little bit lower on the leaderboard could come back at any time.
That's right. They can break their way into top 10 like you saw in the previous game. How it just happened like that. A 20-point swing is available to any one of our competitors, especially the veterans that have done it before on the biggest stages. And that's what leads us to the question, what is going to be shaping up right now? How is this going to all play out? Coop in Class and the others at the top, like Accept, Blake, Crunchy, DeRoller, be able to hold their lead.
Do you play
if they
Fortnite?
Do, that's it. That's going to be the run. If they cannot, all of a sudden we are going to have a very interesting last and final game. This is Game 5, ladies and gents. And
my name is Gav plays Fortnite.
Fight down here.
Yeah, and I think that player does
Yes,
have a
I
shockwave
do.
launcher, right? I saw that shockwave launcher coming out, and that probably explains why Skittles is going so aggressive this fight. Yes, he does have it, so Skittles wants this. He knows a player using rockets like that to disengage means they're weak. If he can
Play Fortnite, I have no mic.
Launcher, that's
By
his
the way,
potential for those 20-point games. That's his way to get back in this tournament. He's 28 points, not doing poorly, but a big game here will jump him up so high. And this player doesn't realize he's chased it. He doesn't think he's chased this hard. He thinks he's safe. He's stopping. He's
Add me.
on the ground. He goes down. It's XNB. It's the banana specialist.
Yeah, what's your epic, bro?
Falling, and Skittles gets the elimination.
But I'll
He's gonna
play
get his
later.
hands on
I'm
that
just
caddy loop.
watching
And I have to
FNCS.
think, I don't know if XNB's been going caddy corners at all today, Monster. So people changing up their strategy in these final games to have those big point formats. So the players at the top, like Coop, like Class, need to be careful because people are changing the way they're playing.
And that's so massive because Skittles already has 2 eliminations and he was in the top 10. So he's breaking his way up now. That puts him on par with DeRoller.
It is Gav plays Fortnite.
But now he has Mythic Kit loot, right? He has the best loot in the game for a solo setting. That's going to be huge here. It's going to help him play into this format.
That is my
so much more
username.
placement and find the frags that he's going to need to carry his way through that end game. And that's unfolding in front of us.
Yeah, when we talk about the storyline, we're talking about protagonists and stuff. Keox, last game, he had his hands on the Kidsmith
Add me.
the first time, and what does he do? He gets 20 points. He got 2 points in his 3 games before that, and then he gets 20-point game. So it shows how important that loot is. We can't talk about it enough. Skittles having that in his hand, if he plays with it well, though, that's the issue. Do you have the experience with the mythic loot? I saw it a lot in last season. A lot of times people get their hands on the grapple gun, they go crazy. They start using it way too much. It's those players who know how to use it are the ones who can use it most effectively. Doesn't matter how strong it is, it makes you a target as well. As we saw there at Skittles, chasing down XMB because he saw the power of its use. You've got to be careful, and I want to see him hold on to it and have that big game like he did during his qualifiers.
I agree. It's the same reason I don't even grab an RPG. You'll just blow yourself up. It's a lot of power in one hand, right? And it gets even worse, right? It only goes up. It only magnifies its way up when you're talking about weapons like that, mythic weapons, specifically the shockwave launcher. But we'll see, though. Class is looking really good here. Uncontested loadout, uncontested POI to himself. The old shark there, the broken down shark. It's looking pretty good for him. On the other side, Blake, who's also into top 4 right now, coming into this at 33 points. He's still just there. He's got himself something nice, a legendary charge shotgun to play with, a couple rotates, and some good heals for later in the game.
Yeah, and a pretty decent zone for. I want to touch on Class's zone as well. That's what I'm talking about. These southern zones could cause issues for some of those players at the top. Class dropping at the Shark, the far northwest part of the map, now has to go southeast. Let's see.
Didn't he get it
have a
yet?
Game plan? Does he know this drop well enough? And can he now make
I
the
sent you
He's
a request.
uncontested, so he wasn't slowed down, which gives me hope that with the practice he's put in coming into grand finals,
I
he
gave
knows
you
when he
a
has to leave
friend
early.
request.
As we see Colazo
Danger for
sneaking
20
up here on
cents.
Kanata, maybe trying to use all the sound these Marauders make to kind of sneak his way in, gets the crash pads. Is Colazo going to go in? He is. He's going to take the sneak shot on Kanata. Kanata would not be happy.
What
if he
is
goes
your
down like
username?
this. Colazo finding his way in, gets the cone, but Kanata goes out the top. Colazo and Kanata,
You
two of the
let him down.
biggest names
Let
in
me
NA
type
East.
it down.
Colazo, a controller player, but known for being more careful, being slower, more methodical, not as aggressive as someone like Kanata. Probably going to disengage here. Yes, Colazo he lost his element of surprise, and maybe now he is. He's just going to throw this shot. He's going to throw the crash pad down to give himself that mobility, but he might need it now. Kanata's not happy about this. That was his Marauder loot. He worked hard for it. He wants it back, and Kanata's pushing forward on Colazo, gets him in the cone. This is not somewhere Colazo wants to be. I have to imagine that Colazo's going to struggle in this fight, and no! He hits him with the harpoon, flicks to the blue tack, and takes him down with what must have been an integer of 1 health. He has literally exactly 50 health from that siphon, and he hits him with the emote.
ILL try to come in your game. Danger 420 Sen.
Turned it around
That's my
and then
username.
lost the exchange. It just looked like weak hands in that single moment, unfortunately. But that was great for Colazo, who's been hot and cold. He already hit a top 10. He hit a top 15. He had 2 fizzles out. So with that, that puts him up still for success, for contention, for top 5-ish right now.
Yeah, he can jump back up there. And like I said, Colazo is known for being a very, very smart player. In trios, he's one of few controller players who leads his trio. He does the tunneling, he does the building, he makes the decisions, showing how insane his game sense is. And let's see if that can show up today now. He's got the loot, he's had his mid-game aggressive fight, which is not normally his style. And now that extra loot might boost him into the end game where he does play so well. And Colazo been struggling a little bit in the heats and qualifiers, didn't have any incredibly massive performances, but I really hope he
Okay, I like your stream.
I've been following for a long time.
Thank
as
you,
a
bro.
really good staple pillar in the competitive community. Is Crunchy doing well to try and make a name for himself here today as well. I feel like he impressed massively.
I do
in his
giveaways
heats,
on
and see if he can
Facebook.
keep doing it today,
If you wanna
Monster.
follow my Facebook page.
That's right. He's up there.
I
He's in the
do
top 5
giveaways
right now.
every
He's
week.
got 8 floppers too. We'll be keeping a close eye on him. On the other side, though, it's
Fortnite
Accept, who's
G-Zone.
also looking
That's
pretty
my
good
Facebook
loadout-wise,
page.
but the medium bullets a bit low. He's in a dangerous situation now to take any kind of fights if he cannot convert on them, because he'll find himself with nothing to take it into the late game. Berserker in the feed, though, is going to light up Bucky, and Bucky's going to
I am
fall,
9.
not finding his footing out of the Frenzy Farms. It seems like
Okay.
hot and cold landing spots for him are not doing too hot.
Yeah, and Accept had the mythic loot last game out.
I
for
don't
himself.
have
Didn't
Facebook.
get control of Ocean, which means it could be in the hands of Dubs, which
Oh,
could be a
yeah,
massive swing
okay,
for the tournament.
that's alright.
He's one of those players who can be so consistent in placements, but we've talked about it. Dubs has been getting those consistent placements, but now that's not going to be enough. If he's settling for maybe, you know, top 20, top 10 possibly, but if he wants to push himself up there, he's going to have to pick up some eliminations, because he's falling a bit off the pace. And someone who can pick up those eliminations, who we haven't seen much of today, Clicks, a player who can drop big games if he gets
Sorry.
the opportunity. Gonna hold this angle with a sniper rifle as he knows the player's there.
So
Trying
good,
to secure
so
with his
good.
chest. I don't know if he wants to take the fight. It's a scary situation for this opposing enemy, because Clicks, if he gets inside this one, turns this into a bit of a box fight, we know how strong he can be. But there's a couple of eyes on them, and they are on edge storm. So Clicks choosing to be smart about this and rotate away. No! Flicks it back.
Oh.
He baits it with the rotate
Whoa.
and flicks it back with the clean quick scope onto Sid. Clicks showing that he's still got it very much on 15 points, but one of those players to look out for to drop a big game, 5 or 6, when there's nothing left on the line. I expect Clicks to go ham, and it's going to pay off in a big way, or he'll drop down even further.
Oh, that was.
If there's any time to do it, it's now in game number 5. And Sid
That's
was in
cool.
15th place coming into this competition, coming into this game here. So that's a big drop off for him. We're going to see him fall in the standings now that he can't accrue any more points. But players like Clicks, though, if he turns online now, there still is an opportunity, still is a chance to fight for the
Did you
big
see that
prizing
snipe by
that's on
Clicks?
the line
Oh
here.
my god.
Time to rotate now, though. This
Like
is gonna
he
be a far
actually knew
south
he's
ILL
gonna
at
edit
you.
it.
Remember, we had the first 2 games favored downwards towards Weeping. This time around looks like it's going more towards the mountainous side, more
I'll
towards
add
Caddy's
you.
corner, somewhere down there. And that's going to be some new terrain for these players to play into.
And those are the hardest zones to stay consistent. If it goes up and down, we hear Sundown talk about it all the time. Old Man Mountain will take his toll.
That was
if they
crazy.
Don't have launch pads, if they don't have
He
maybe
just
one of those
sniped
mystic
him.
items with incredible mobility,
That's snipe.
Oh my god. Unexpected snipe, like he actually knew what was going to happen.
See a very interesting zone in endgame where some of those players like Coop and Class are going to have to really show off their consistency.
That is right, and even on this rotate here, Clix is not getting it done for free. There's multiple players here that are looking to fight right now. Not sure why, possibly because the Storm Surge that is active now. Players need their tags, and it doesn't matter. You stop in here to fight with Clix, he's going to give it to you, and he's going to do it right there. He did it with the sniper again. This is the second time now he's landed this big bull action shot that he needs. On the other side, it's Fishy, one of the hottest up-and-coming players, one of the hottest players right now.
What's up? There's some of these streamers, they're hackers.
Unfortunately, not
they
really
have
finding
soft
what he
aim.
needs. On the other side, though, P-God, he was off to a very strong,
Your username dangerboy999.
No, my username is. Wait, let me type it down. Hold up.
I mean 666.
No.
And it lets him aggressively push forward with speed into fights like this. Onto Viberfire, someone we've unfortunately seen on the feed quite a lot.
This is my
on the
username.
stream, unfortunately, at the back end of getting
Danger for
eliminated.
20
P-God
cent.
trying to get his way back into this one.
Danger 420 sen.
Yeah.
Dangerboy 666.
So let's not forget
Dangerboy
that. He's been doing
666.
just
That's
enough,
my
as you
channel
see.
name.
He gets tagged pretty hard there, but I think he's going to be A-okay.
Danger for
What
20
is it?
cent. Danger for 20 cent.
Sitting up on high
I wrote it
ground
down
right
in the
now,
chat.
and this is what I mentioned,
Have a look in the
zone
chat.
pulling
I wrote it
southeast
down.
is going to really favor into this mountainous terrain, this sketchy place to kind of rotate through. It only gets harder and harder if
this
you're
guy
late
is
on the
good too.
rotates. The players that situate up first are going to have such an advantageous position over the remaining players in the lobby, and it's going to be that much harder to move on out, especially for players like D-Roller who don't have a launch pad, but at least he does have a crash pad.
He's a good player.
It'll be a fight
This
though
one.
for him to take. He's
Vanish.
someone behind the wall.
D-Roller. D-Roller.
Storm Surge one above, and it's active right now. I think it must be just one above, and yeah, he is. He's gonna have to push towards Daxor, maybe to get some tags off. As we can see, Daxor not doing too hot today. 7 points. I was gonna say maybe the hope for the E11 back-to-back or two
I
major
add
regions,
you.
but unfortunately I don't think so today. But Daxor needs to win this one, as D-Roller's gonna push around the side. We know he's going aggressive, and we know why. He needs his Storm Surge tags. If you aren't a big fan of competitive Fortnite, you don't follow it. Storm Surge is basically the threshold that D-Roller needs to get above. He needs to get damage above that threshold so that he doesn't start
That
taking
is me.
25 damage every 10 seconds, and that's why he's going aggressive. It's why me and Monster were saying how good of a position he was in, and it changed so quickly, and that's why Storm Surge is in the game. It pressures those players so they can't play too passive. You need to have these interactions, you need to have engagements, you need to take fights. You can't just sit back and rest on what you have. As Daxor identifies this, now knows how weak he is, and I think he's going to push forward and punish this one. He has the SMG in the hand, and he also has the 2 crash pads.
Yeah, it looks like D-Roller unfortunately stepped out a little too soon. He was safe for some time.
ILL join you.
How soon
Okay.
he push in, and that's going to be it right there. You saw the tag come through. It doesn't
Invite
matter.
me.
Daxter's going to walk right through him, and he's going to take
Oh,
him
you
out of the
can just
game.
join.
Let's not forget, guys, D-Roller wasn't in top 10. He was just in the top 5. So that's going to be a big pause for him. We need these players in the top 10 to stay alive and continue to get points. If we want this competition to be close, remember, players like Coop, Class, Accept have such a lead over the rest of the players here that if they stay up, they could easily run away with the competition and never look back. It could be an insurmountable lead they're putting up in front of them. Here's Blake, though.
I join you.
In striking distance of the top 3, making a very scary rotate across the open waters here. There's even sharks nearby, so he's got to be super careful as the shots are coming in from all the players situated up on the mountain now.
And if you missed it, Blake put up a 20-point game in the first game of today. So he's someone who's around that point with Cooper and Class, who's proven that he can get the win, much like D-Roller. So those are the players you got to keep eyes on. They've proven they can do it, and he did it without ridiculous loot as well. So Blake now, with only 1 mini though, is a situation that you guys know that I love. He needs a fight, and he needs elimination, and he gets absolutely destroyed here. Taken down to 11 health. He's going to be up to an effective, 36 health if my math is correct after that mini, which he's going to need to know he falls, and it was Aspect. I believe maybe it was Aspect that lit him up. We can't see. It was someone lit him up, and Aspect maybe finishes it off, and that's a really tough way to go for Blake. And I talked about it earlier. He got headshot sniped in game 2. These are the ones that you need to mentally reset and come back from. You need to try and figure out what went wrong and try to figure it out without just getting too upset, because you still got one game ahead of you, and we talked about the prize money. There is a lot on the line today. You can't give up now. You need to close out strong.
That's right. You need to hold that mentality of a champion, as Reverse 2K will put it. Even if you fall, you can still turn around and take a victory in your final game to really bump yourself up to either qualifying, but this time it's for the money, it's for the prizing, it's for the prestigious placement that'll stay etched in your competitive history for a lifetime. On the other
I
side,
am in
though,
front of you.
Consistent, slow, methodical,
I see you, Gabe.
still breaking and inching his way through new territory here with the placement points that he's
Gabe,
been
what
earning.
server are
He's
you
at
from?
28 right now, not too bad, but
Oceania?
not quite enough to be
Oh,
in
NAs?
the top 10, not just yet. P-God's gonna find clicks in the feed there. That's massive for P-God. Always turn it online in these mid games. Not afraid to take the fight. Doesn't matter who you are. Dubs,
I
though.
like the choice here of Dubs with the Peppers. Like, it's a good position to be in. We've talked about the mounds around this area. It's going a little bit more towards Misty, so not too much verticality, but the Peppers are really good for making your way up those hills rather than the crash pads, where quite often you get stuck under all the builds above you. Dubs also has the launch pad, and no surprise there, Booger in a beautiful high ground power position with sight lines over the whole lobby, as Dubs does get that elimination onto Lunez. So he's got one on the board now, and he's looking really good. 29 points. Can he jump his way up in there, or can he do the slow and methodical? As we see Kaz over in the corner, someone who I was hyping up, and drops back down into just outside top 10, but he can do this with an average placement so far of around 30th. So he's doing well this game. Just got to keep pushing forward and get into it, as we still have 64 alive, Monster. NA East is not speeding up at all. The leaderboard is speeding up, but the players are still playing their slow, methodical game that they know how.
You can't blame him. Players like Coop, who just want to
play duos after.
on him, and yes, he is gonna find one. Jeltzy off in the distance there is gonna be the player he knocks out of the competition now.
I want to see
him
who's the
back
champion
to the
for
lobby,
NA.
only to queue up for their final game coming up. This is game
Final
number
game is
5,
after
ladies
this.
and gentlemen. The NA East
This is the
grand
fucking
finals
game.
of the FNCS Solos division. There's $500,000 on the line. So you can imagine the pressure is at an all-time high, even for players like Booga, who have taken the first place on the biggest stages across the world. And during this FNCS, Booga has averaged more than 7 points per game in his final 3 games. So he is looking to swing his way up. He is looking to stay in the competition and show that he can place another high-placing spot in a solos comp.
Yeah, showing he does. He has that mental fortitude. Obviously, Booger proven he's a champion on the day of days, won the Solo World Cup, but it was a different story. He jumped out with that massive lead and just had to hold on to it. Did not lose his first place since first game, but showing here as a competitive player, he has progressed even more to be able to close out those tournaments that don't start so strong, and looking to do so here. Drops down with the green tack, and he does. He takes down Cody. A big elimination there. Booger and Cody also actually used to be teammates too, so maybe a bit of love lost there between Cody and Booger as he gets that big elimination. And he's back up to 75 builds now, 6 crash pads and the launch pad, and that's one extra player that's now taken out away from him, around him, so he's conditioned this area and now has an even cleaner rotate with not as many people around him as he pulls off a pretty difficult half-half, but not too bad of a one here, Monster.
That was huge. Cody did get his fire put out once again, another game in a row. He was doing well at the start, but hit that mid-game wall like we talk about, that mid-competition wall that can happen to anyone regardless of how good. Booga, though, is on the crash pad. He's not slowing down, not at all right now. He's going to position himself up on a nice, great layer here. Booga, one of the few people that actually look out before they crash pad. He treats it almost like a launch pad if you ever do any refuels. And this is gonna be such a big elim for him. It's gonna be on some rocks. Oh my gosh, the impact frag that he needs. He can actually gather up all of the loot here as well, and now maxed out because of the pickup there. This is looking like it could be Booga's game easily now.
It easily could be, and we just talked about that graphic showing up. We crunched the numbers, and Booger is good in this tail half of the tournament. So if anyone's going to handle the pressure and show up big here in Game 5, it's going to be him, and that's what you're watching if you've just tuned in. Game 5 of the NA East FNCS Grand Final. Monster just laid on the line. $500,000 is going to be given out in the next 2 games, and a few players need to jump up there right now. You're looking for Coop, you're looking for Class. They've got a decent lead on the rest of the tournament, but we've seen big point swings in the past. Someone can jump up and take their position and get into that top 2 spot. spot. If they fall soon, it's going to be anyone's game for the taking, and that's what you want, a nice tight leaderboard at the top, because this one is going to be a nail-biter, except we saw him have a great game last game, but that was with Mythic loot in hand. He walked away with Fortilla with Ocean's loot. Can he do it now with 3 crash pads, 3 minis, and 2 green weaponry with just under 50 bills? It's not a bad loadout, but he's going to have to use it very wisely as we see a nice water zone here. It's not deep water like you were used to last season, so these players can still build, they can still block all the shots, but it's very open sightlines. If Accept has to push across here, or those players have to push into him, there's no cover. They have to use their mats. There's no hills, no trees, no houses. It's just you and the opponent in front of you. He's going to go back forward again. He can see if he can try and make his way out of this one.
He's
using
going
another
crazy here in
enemy's crash
Accept.
pad.
Remember, I was just going to say, let's not forget the fact that Accept is in the conversation right now for top 3 here, Ozzy.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. He's got a good chance to try and jump up through this one if he can. Holding onto those crash pads, it's with plays like that where he reuses them and goes forward, takes down Zombie, and good thing he held onto those crash pads because now he needs them. Nice rotate onto front side. Ultimate low looking really good down there. Goes up a few layers. I see Calc on the backside with pressure on. I see a few people going for high ground. Booger's there. We talked about him. He was in a decent position, but now he's fighting his way back in. Illis, we're shooting him as one of the biggest fighters in NA East. He can drop eliminations like anyone. He's going to start making his way through 2 crash pads. One about to come out, but no, he holds onto it till the last millisecond. He doesn't need it. He holds it there, zone goes back, and now he has that in the back pocket. This utility is everything for him right now. He has no shields. He has 100 health. Those crash pads are going to allow him to get into a box and get a refresh, and this is that. It's exactly what he's looking to do. He gets in there. The epic tax shotgun gets put to use, and he takes down Renan's, and now he gets the shield, and that's why you have to hold on to your utility. You need to run it for as long as you can.
Am I in your
ground,
way?
But it's not very secure.
No,
he needs to be careful how he plays that high ground monster.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Never mind, he's going to keep pushing forward. The monster's just reconnecting back in. Hopefully we have him to run
He's
this
on
end
number
game.
1.
But it might just be you and me, but it's going to be exciting either way. Coop, someone I've been cheering on this whole time on 50 points, gets another elimination onto COD Genesis. Coop is one of the best players with attack in hand in scrappy fights on backside, and that's what he's going to need to do. He needs to keep pushing it through. He needs to keep going and keep closing this one out if he can.
And here's the RPG on high ground. It's not looking too good here. Wrigley's really going to be manipulating the lobby. That RPG's going to force everyone down the mountain. Players like Booga have to probably come back over. He's all the way at the bottom.
I am ruining your show.
No, you're good. You're okay.
We'll see how that's going to happen here. On the other side, though, focus on the bottom. Booga trying to make his crossover now. And Coop as well. Coop still with a big lead here, 52 points. He's made it this far. That is ridiculous. He is only getting further and further away from the competition, Ozzy.
Here's his go, jumping forward here with this one. 53 points on the board right now, and I don't see Class.
Booger's
Class
gonna
is
die.
not in this one contesting it, so this is Coop's tournament. Can he have the huge game 5 and then have the breezy? I'm not entirely sure, but Wrigley, finally someone sees this high ground and makes a play for it, but Hypnos falls, and Wrigley goes deep into Storm. I think they both just went down on high ground. The power position is given up. Coop has to do something to keep pushing forward. 55 points on the board, backside of Storm. He's in the top right of your screen. That's what you want to look at. He misses a couple of shots, but the movement gets him through. He's still got floppers, he still has minis, and he's going back to front side to close this one out, Monster.
He is going insane right now. Booga in the low ground trying to find anything. He's going to go for the shotgun exchange. He gets it right when he needs it most. The Siphon's going to come through. Just enough mass to keep him alive as well. And it's a two-way fight right now. It's high ground. It's low ground. Booga versus Zen. And then everyone else up above right now who is battling it out. Dubs, Fishy, Nutsex, all big names on the scene right here for NAEs. On the other side, though, Booga trying to bounce back in the comp. A few seconds now. He's going to play with the Storm. He's playing with fire right now. 3 HP. Someone lands in front of him. It's Dubs. Dubs goes down. Booga's still running with it. 4 eliminations now. He is clearly
Can you do
in
a
the
sharp
top 10,
play?
possibly top 5. He might have made it all the way up to the top. He's still in the game here, Ozzy.
Booga closes out strong. We showed it, we said it, we highlighted it, and there he is closing out.
So I can play on your account.
Is it who, Fishy? You said a monster. He's hot. He's cold. He's looking hot now. He likes his fish hot, and he's trying to push forward. He's going down. He gets pushed down onto Nudex, and no, Nudex takes him out. It's a 1v1 situation. Nudex and exactly is closing out. We might see our first heal off, but no, exactly with Flopper in hand, doesn't want to heal off. Jumps out to the side with the beautiful legendary tag shot for the 3 elimination win. Coop runs away with it, Monster.
Okay, this is the final after this.
I don't know, but that was a battle of layers, and players like Booga really stepping it up just like that. But either way, we're sending over to the desk. We're sending over to the boys to go in and break down all the action for us.
There you have it. Game number 5 is done and closed. Doing exactly what it needed to find the victory royale. Now, guys, we're getting ready. We've got one.
Do you have too far?
Left. What we have to do is take a look at the
Yeah, I got
standings.
2 FA.
That is directly going to pretty much dictate what we should expect going into the last game. What do you think, Shai?
This is the last game, bro. This is it. It's the final countdown. It's the final countdown. Let's go.
But it doesn't matter because in first, it's still Coop at 57 points, 19 elims, pushing the lead, still looking so hot up top.
Shio might stutter, but Coop does not. 12 points in the lead.
Can I have a gift?
And he's almost at
Me
20
something.
on the tournament too. This could be the run for Coop to solidify him as somebody.
If you subscribe, bro, if you subscribe,
who should be up there in consideration for the best solo player.
and like and hit the notification bell.
Class again, only 12 points behind, and that is the kind of player who can have those big games to catch back up.
Booga has one word on his mind, though, in 4th place. It's manifest. Manifest that World Cup win, being on the top, the solo champion. He's trying to climb back to first, 20 points behind, and still has one more game to push to do it.
Ooh, cool.
Yes.
So, look,
I subbed.
value, he is tied, even illest, right?
Okay, bro.
Just a handful of eliminations, except could make something happen. As you're saying, manifest right now. We have one game left, boys. Literally anything can happen. If nothing does,
And notifications are on.
just placing top 10 with no eliminations would
Thank
secure
you.
him the VR.
You know what's crazy too, guys, is that everybody that we just watched in that last game, and we just saw exactly come all the way up, probably around the 25th mark. And these guys as well in this page too, they've just risen a significant amount, but there's everybody bouncing back and forth. It's not one person doing it all. It's
Who do you
like
think gonna
a
win?
bunch of different
Who do you think
people and a
gonna win?
bunch of
Coop
different threads
or
trying to
Kellis?
grab their lion's share of the prize
Or
at the end
expect
of the day.
Booga or Face? Who do
I'm
you
going
think
to say
gonna
it
win?
right now. Grab your cameras and just take a screenshot of any of these pages.
It
Past
is
the
on
top
all.
10, they will change next game. Ball is right. It's bouncing back and forth. It's a ping pong match all the way up.
It's on all.
Right beside the hitting.
Ew. I think Coop gonna win, cause he's been in the circle.
So when we go back to lobby, can I have a skin?
Man, guys, this has been
No, you have to wait 2
such
days.
just joy in general, right? We have one game left to go.
That's how it
And
goes.
Shy just disappears.
that's how it
Goodbye,
is.
my friend. We will never forget
Face?
you.
Do you think Face gonna
Well,
win?
we've got one game.
It's just
Face Dab is way behind. He's not even pushing that much players.
Let's go away from here because apparently he can't manifest an internet connection. It's all good.
I think Coop's gonna
Guys,
win.
you know what? We're just gonna step away. We're gonna throw
Oh.
back in the game. Monster D
Coop's
face.
gonna
Oh, I'm
win.
sorry. Excuse me. The replays. We gotta talk about some things
Never
that
know,
did unfold. You know, man. Manifest. That's
Let's
just gonna
see,
be
let's
the
see. This is
theme
the
of what
final
we are
game.
looking
Sad
at.
face.
Break this down.
No.
Absolutely,
It's the
I will.
final
It's
game
Coop
right here.
At the top, we wanted to highlight some of the things that he's done to really shine and come all the way to the
Coop,
top.
this is
This
Coop.
is in the last game. He's pretty much in a backwards position in the back of zone, no
Cute.
materials. And what he will do is pull out that tack. That was called out by the casters and said that
Coop.
he's so good in these situations, and just a few of them.
Look at all
Every
his
single
inning.
time he's picking up one flopper.
He's gonna
Finding
win.
the pass. I mean, you saw him scoot all the way
Half a
back
million.
up on the right side. It's crazy that he's able to find these things. This was the first game back in front,
Ooh.
and still another player in his box. He doesn't care. He's fine with that. He's like, okay, you want to stay? I will take you out. You're good. And then moving into that game, this was probably one of his better games, but every single one was, because Zeke, he has a 10.2 average placement over 5 games. I think out of the finals that we've watched, even in EU, that was unheard of. This is a little bit more consistent, a little bit more from Coop than we've seen anybody in terms of game after game performance.
And the thing is, he's been able to couple this with a handful of eliminations, right? Earlier on in the broadcast,
Coop is gonna win.
Yeah, he's gonna win. 100%.
But you need the eliminations tied with that. If you're just placing high with no elims, you're not going to get that far. Coop has not placed out of top 25 in 5 games. Like, that's
Yeah,
absurd.
that's what I'm saying. He's not yet
It
been
is,
like
and
eliminated
for-
in like
you know what he's doing in
he's
the-
been in
you saw
top
in the last
25
bit
for
of that
like
package.
all the
Like,
four games.
Sundown called it, right? He said the players who can play with low materials, the low mat players, will end up being able to find that consistency, find that game after game conversion on points, and you saw it in that. Coop was literally 3 games out of the ones we just watched. The highlights from those was him ducking and diving between all the little old builds, and he always found himself not only elimination, but somebody with floppers where you could.
I wanna donate, but ILL get in trouble.
Don't donate, I don't need your money, bro.
Right? You can see it in his play. You can tell
I just want you to
is
be here.
finally firing
Just
on
watch.
all cylinders. I say finally like he wasn't before, but he is. From the beginning, he has his
That's
eyes
why I turned
set
off my
on the
donations.
prize. With 1 game left, can he hold on?
Let's go.
12 points, that's the difference. With 1 game left, somebody has to show up, and it really looks like Class might be the only person to be able to do it, so we've got to keep our eyes on that duel seek.
This is it, the final. The finals. Let's go.
Can he hold on and be the new FNCS champion in NA East? It's time to get into the last game to find out. Monster D-Face,
Okay.
Antics, for you.
And here we have it. The battle bus is underway, and $500,000 is on the line, laid out across this Fortnite world here. It's the last game, game number 6 of the FNCS NA East Grand Finals, and we're here to bring home all of the action. It has been such an intense 5 games, an intense 2 weeks of competition. But it's a question, will Booga, who just had a huge stride all the way back up to top 5, hold out and take it home? Will Accept do it? Will Class do it? Or will Coop maintain the strong lead that he has set out before him? Monster D-Face here in Aussie Antics, and the battle bus is already laid out. And take a look, our competitors are here. They're on the field already.
And they're ready to play. Someone has to pick up the pace here if they're going to catch up to Coop. And is it going to be Class? He's had an average elimination of only 1.8. He's been the slow and steady, consistent player. Does he stick to that? Does he stay slow and steady and hold on to maybe a top 3, top 5 second place? Or does he pick up the pace? Because unless Coop goes down right now, very early on, Class needs to do something different if he wants to take over the lead. Coop has put such a control in this lobby. I talked about it when we were watching Class. Someone needs to jump up and put the pressure down. Who is it going to be? And it's been Coop. It's been the story of Coop today, but a lot of other people want their story told. Booga, someone who's used to the limelight, catching up from behind, a position we don't often see him in for solos tournaments, but as you saw earlier with that statistic, he plays so strong in his final few games. And if you're looking for anyone to jump up and have a huge 2 strides, because we saw 1, it's going to be Booga.
That's right, Booga's already done it. Players like Young Calc have done it as well, thrusting themselves up.
That is
Big
cool.
Trims too. So these are all of our vets that are showing that they can still turn up in the final moments. We talked about players like Reverse who were able to do it as well, and that's what we talk about, the mentality from the
Even the
champions
shark side
being
in the
able to
game.
step up to the plate when it matters most. Either way, though, there's a lot of action unfolding here. Highlight from Class and how he picked up one of his first eliminations onto Slim from downrange, and oh my gosh, we get the shot from 2 perspectives there, Ozzy. That was disgusting.
We get the bystanders as well, sitting on the rocks, the little coral just watching out, seeing that unfold, and that was brutal. But it's another point for Class, and it's another point
It was
closer to
dope.
Coop. We haven't seen Coop in the feed, so he hasn't gone down, but he hasn't
That
gone
was
in too. So
sad.
Class is edging forward. And there's kind of
That was very
as
sad.
we see Crunchy here setting up a bit of an ambush tactic, and I'm not sure who's inside this house, but he knows they're rotating out. Sets up with the AR. Can he get the shots to convert it? Yes, he can. Cracks the shield off. Only has 1 minion on Lunes, who we've seen have a pretty rough day here today. World Cup solo qualifier himself, falling, not able to keep up with the pace. Unfortunately, something went wrong, and Crunchy gets a big refresh and a big jump up that he needed.
We're still going to give a big shout out to players like Lunes, players like Zlem, and all the other fallen competitors already here in the last game. Their last chances out the window now because they are still the best of the best. We're looking at the 100 greatest in the region. Players like Blake proving that they have what it takes, even as the newer up-and-comers, the stars that have been around. It's their time to shine. Will Blake do it? He's got 34 points. This is a battle that matters a lot. We talk about $1,000 engagements, big money on the line, and Blake loses to Clicks finally in the early game because Clicks needs it. There's no alliances here.
You
Not
can't
in
beat
any
Clicks
drop
like
fight, not
that.
in solos. And Clicks won its 18 points.
Wait, are you allowed to gift me a skin?
Talk about alliances, Clicks and Blake, 2
Are
renowned
you
teammates. They
allowed
were
to
duos
give me a
until
skin?
recently. They didn't
Yeah.
join the last iteration of Fortnite, but they were teammates for so long.
I can give
and there's
skins
going to be a
anyone.
bit of love lost there. Blake is going to be upset. We've talked about it. Blake has had some of the most heartbreaking eliminations I've seen today. Either getting absolutely destroyed and beamed up from a player he can't see, headshot snipes, now getting into a box fight with Clicks, probably the last person on the map you want to have a fight with.
You can see it there. Things are still kicking up, though. It's Booga, though, on the rotate right now. Trying to make it happen here. You can see 37 points.
When this is over,
He's on
then.
the rotate. He's trying to cut through the zone right now. He's doing so good. Even with players nearby, he's got to be super careful. This is entire setting on the line. His top 5 is up for grabs right now. As Coop still is alive. He's got 57 points. This is so clutch for Coop right now. All he has to do is stay alive, ride this tidal wave, sit on his surfboard, and bring it home. Will he be able to do it is the big question.
Did you see that guy in the
He's hovering
bush?
up above.
I
Little
think
does
he
know there's
knows
a player
there's a guy
inside
in
the
the
bush
bush.
to the side there.
How?
Lucky for him, instincts are going to take over here. He's going to make the right decision.
It is so cool.
To get closer to zone to
No,
play
but how does he even know?
materials that are
How
right
does
in
he
front of
even
him.
know there's a player there?
But it's okay. He's got plenty to
Because that
continue
player
to
didn't
form up
even
here.
pick him.
This late in the competition, or this early into this game specifically,
Wow.
he needs to continue to pick up the loot. He's got to get the brick. He's got to find the medal. The prestigious medal, so hard to gather. But I think he's going to opt out of all that just to stay alive a little longer now. FaZe Dubs coming out of Fortilla, we know. He's been able to pull off these huge rotations, and he's got the loadout to make it work too. You can tell that he's got that vault loot in hand because he already has a launch pad secured as well.
I
with
know.
the crash pads.
Right.
3 big pots.
Like
There's
how?
another player
Eh?
who's
Like
just stepped
how?
out
How
of the
does he
zone
even
so
know
that he can
there's a
gather
player
our
in the
material
bush?
now and take it into the late game.
He was like even like 30, 40 meters away.
Still farming though. He's hanging out here. This is the intensity that we expect in a
Some of
grand
these
finals
players
also.
might have hacks,
Yeah, exactly.
soft
Dubs
aim
right now
and
in
some
5th place
rotation.
on 37 points. He's got less than
Ah,
one average
can't
elimination.
say
He is
that,
in 5th place with less than one average
That's
elimination.
bullshit
That
right
is
there.
ridiculous. So Dubs looking to just continue his slow and steady format. He's not trying to jump up. He's probably noticed that Coop's got way too many points to chase up. And
It
we
is
keep talking about
crazy.
the top, but $500,000 on the
And
line. There is
and the
nothing to scoff
commentator
at
saying
about
it's
coming top 5,
instinct.
top 3. It's not all about first place here. It's Ages trying
He's
to push up
hiding
into a
and
pretty
farming
aggressive fight that we haven't seen
in
too
front
many
of the
today.
bush.
And this is what's going to start to happen in Game 6, where people have leaving
Like, he
nothing
actually
out there.
knows,
They
like,
want to go,
there's a
maybe
player
they're
there.
frustrated. Games haven't gone their way. They're going to back their mechanics and take fights they wouldn't otherwise take.
5 points separates Agers right now to the top 10. The big prizing on the line to do it is his wall. He makes the edit. He's looking to get the follow-up here. This is a huge engagement here for Agers, who's been doing well in the competition. Just good enough to be in the conversation right now.
he
And the
mini
point
down.
threshold is so close that he does not want to fall now, not to give away his positioning so far.
just mini
Someone
up
who
in
also
front of
needs
him.
it is
Oh,
Chelsea
wow.
too. So on the line is the same thing for the 2 players. It's all the money. It's all the marbles, and that's
Why
it. He
did that
cashes
guy
in.
didn't even
Agers
push?
wins the engagement. He has just enough loot to fight his way out of the storm line too. There's someone nearby though listening into the battle.
I love
You
your
can see the
stream.
cursor there. It's Likura.
Oh no,
Thank you,
Likura's
bro.
lurking. This is a good spot to be in. He had good health, good shield. We'll have to keep an eye on the feed to see if that can close out. Aspect
Oh,
getting a grip on
man.
Marauders.
I am
Nice
watching you from
builds
now
there.
on.
Throws up the build and tries to cut off the sideline
you,
from the
bro.
Marauders so they don't aggress.
Your
onto them.
streams.
It's a really good play. Marauders will only chase you if they see you for long enough, and I think maybe one of them spotted Aspect. No, they're not all making their way towards him, so he might be okay. Clearly not wanting to tangle with them.
Aspect, yeah.
He's on the
That's
edge,
true.
and right now, Marauders could ruin his tournament on 24 points. He could jump up there as one of those veterans who's kind of come out of nowhere back into tournament monster. It's so great to see someone who was here at the very start of competitive Fortnite kind of drop off a little bit, not to maybe take it seriously, and then come back in a big way.
That is true here. Aspect
He's
trying to
gonna
make
get
something
lasered.
big of the
Hello.
rotate here now. You can see there's plenty of players nearby still
Yeah,
hanging out
I'm
at
here,
the
Gabe.
authority.
I'm here.
Zones
You
are
there.
already popping,
Yeah, I'm
pulling
here.
players to the north. That's where the pro players are going to start having to pull their focus in. We're going to have to start sliding their way all the way up here. Aspect gets the brakes put on him, though. There's someone just outside of Salty Springs now, putting in some
Aspect,
shots.
I knew
He's
he's
be
gonna get
having to
lasered.
Stop here. He's going to have to heal up now. And this is digging into 2. Oh my gosh. The fact that he's using 2 shields right now just shows. It indicates that Aspect does not want to fall. He doesn't even want to leave anything on the table. It's
What are you
use it
doing, bro?
or lose it in these situations. And I love it. He follows up with the hunting rifle. Beautiful shot
Okay.
right there for Aspect. And now
Oh,
the pressure's
come
on, though.
on,
It's
bro.
Gabe. He's on his tail here, Ozzy.
Oh,
And someone's behind Gabe. It's like a little highway. That river, they're all swimming down it. They see that Aspect got an
Ooh, this
elimination. They're
guy.
chasing him, chasing
Oh,
the loot.
man.
They saw him get cracked from the sniper rifle.
Oh,
and
that's
you love
good.
to see it. Aspect backing himself. He uses the 2 big pots, freeing up a slot for the sniper, and then instantly, within 5 seconds, gets an elimination that makes it worth it. That was a huge swing, but there was
Man.
2 players is hot on his heels. People are
If
picking
he
up the pace
missed
here in
that shot, he
NAE. They
would
are
have
going
died.
aggressive.
But he
So you
just
have to look
hits
out for
that
players
shot.
like Coop, like
Wow.
Class, like Accept here to hold on to their lead and avoid those players because they want to
Wow.
have their
That is
solid steady
insane.
games. They want to get to the end game. They don't want to get caught up in fights like this.
This is so
That's it.
cool.
You're seeing it unfold right here, right now. Only 78 players remaining in the lobby. Everyone's on their final marathon push to make it through, to make their way up, to claw their way into that top 5, top 10.
How
Players
many
like
players
Accept
left?
that 40 points are doing just that too. Remember, he's top 3 right now. Any of these engagements can quite literally throw him out of the loop right now, take him out of the comp. He's got to think long and hard before he takes these shots and fires off the cylinders at different players. And you can see right there, he holds back the reins. He decides, you know what? I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to get to zone instead. Maybe for him, it's about playing a little bit smarter and playing it safer for the placement points. Keox, on the other hand, has a little bit more of a gap to close here. He's got to play a little bit more aggro, possibly quite literally take a fight that he doesn't want to right now.
But I have to think Keox has picked up more points in his final games than almost anyone. Booger had the big run, but Keox, I believe going into game 3 or whether it was game 2, had 2 points. And then he got the massive 20-point game. But he's keeping that consistency going. He's had another big game on the back of that as well. So Keox currently
You
in
muted
7th place,
him.
but he's jumping the leaderboard.
Yeah.
He had a 6 elimination win in game 4, and in game 5 was a 7 elimination 19th. So this is a player that's leaving nothing on the line. He could
It's a
have that
final
big
game.
game to jump up that we've been looking for.
Completely dialed in on that one as well. 7 elims in the
Savage.
top 20. So Keox has thrusted his way all the way up. He's in 7th place right now. You guys forget that with every single point, Keox is securing his way and he's shutting out competitors, right? We're in game 6 now. If you fall out, there's no more opportunity. As players like Nanolight are still trying to find something, still trying to do something here. He hasn't been on the camera a lot today, but he's still been in the question. He's been in the conversation. He can still make his final ride into the last standings strong right now.
And that's it. That is the story of Nanolight. It's those top finishes performing so well, coming top 3 at DreamHack Anaheim, but still just a
You're a
face you don't
savage.
see a lot of, someone that doesn't get a lot of respect on it.
I'm
He's
not
so
a
good in these
savage.
stack lobbies. He doesn't perform well in cash cups. Currently sitting on an average elimination of 1.6. So he is a placement warrior. He came 2nd last game, so he's looking really, really good here at the end. But he's
This
gotta
guy
keep
is
going.
getting
He's gotta
tagged
keep
and he's
pushing
not even
forward.
tagging
Try
him.
and
You
make
know
it happen,
that.
as these are the fights that are going to be the questionable ones. Can he
He's
hold
not
his
even
own when he
tagging
has
him.
to
Look
fight
at him.
mid-game? When
Even
people
the
get
other
aggressive and
player
set
just
up
got
on
the
top of
high
him,
ground
he
on
can't
him.
just play his
He's gonna
safe
get rushed.
placement game all the time. As we now slink inside top
gonna
75
get
and
rushed.
one
Watch
placement
this.
point goes out. The first one of the game, Monster. As much as there's people going aggressive out there, there's plenty that are still playing safe and keeping this in true NA East slow and steady fashion.
That's right, and this could be a fight that will make or break Nanolight right now. This is a big fight, and the crash pad is actually going to send him flying
Emoji
out.
face
I'm not
with
sure if
symbols
that's a
on
blessing or a
mouth.
curse right
Yes,
now,
you
because
are.
Jack is well on his heels, and Nanolight has to make a big
That's
decision here. He can't sit here for much longer. If he does, it's an easy entry for the crash pad, especially with the weird terrain. Here it comes on the other side of the wall. It's a charged shotgun. Well timed on the exit there. He catches Jack. Doesn't make the edit fast enough, though, and now he's shot a few times.
But he's
That
gonna die.
opponent, though, is very far off in the distance. I
Okay,
think he's going to be
okay.
okay here to heal up and stay alive.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
just win the
sure.
battle, possibly lose the war. He's on the
How many
back foot now.
plays
I don't see too many meds there, and he's not in a good spot. As you see Panda, who's out in zone, not in a good spot, has the meds, but needs to get in to have the time to use them. He's left this rotate very, very
70
late.
plays
And maybe
left.
it's this kind of missed timings on the rotate that could explain the 11 points. Not too high up there, but what
Ah,
can
you
he
wanna
do?
see
Are there players
clicks
around him
and
who are
then-
high up on the
Oh!
leaderboard? Like Keox, that could be ended just like that. Keox in 7th place going down. The
Oh.
analysts talked about it. We've talked about it. In solos, every interaction matters.
That guy
Panda
was on
has
6,
not
now
a
he's on
showing to get
7.
top 5, top 10, or even close. But
If you say
he's
you're
just
not,
taking
then you're
Keox
dumb.
out.
Emoji
That's why it
unamused
matters
face.
so much.
Fortnite fan, we got to give shout outs to everyone that's made it this far. Even players like Keox, he's still probably going to hold a very strong positioning in the comp so far. It's been a long, grueling set of FNCS quals, heat, and now grand finals as some of the favorites are falling here. Even Dubs now, Tahita, who are still trying to say, hey, we made it this far for a reason. They are the best of the best out there right now. The crash pad across the field here just to continue to keep him in the game. And that's how Dubs' run ends now and Hita's story begins here. But is it too late? It sure
Where's
is,
Unknown?
because we're
I
in the
haven't
last
seen
run
Unknown.
now.
Is he in
Dubs
the East?
falls. Dubs was pushing up there. He was in 5th place and he goes down, and that's just it. Dubs having an average elimination of
Haven't
less than
seen a
1 a
no
game,
miss.
so you can't conclude on those mid-game fights if they're taken. It is rough to see, and yeah, you have to give props to all these players.
You're a
especially
savage,
ones lower
bro.
leading who are
Emoji
still
face
playing
with
their
stuck
game
out
into
tongue
game
and
6
closed
monster.
eyes.
They're not quitting. They're not giving up. They're still taking it seriously,
Let's
and
go.
that's what it's about. This is practice at the end of the day. This is solos at the highest level, and you can improve on things every single time you play, as exactly trying to get some shots out here and getting player very focused. That's all it takes sometimes. You're coming in a little bit late, one player spots you and puts down some damage, and a lot of people are going to have eyes on you for a free elimination
Coop
or
die?
some Storm Surge tags
No,
as well.
I don't think he died.
And this is a great position to be in now. You can see everyone down there. That natural low elevation working against them. Just off the rotates there, coming out the zone nice and late. On the other side, though, D-Roller, alive in this game, healthy and well in the center. Has a good position on the zone here. It looks like this is a different end game. Yeah, we haven't seen the zone pull very often up here towards the northwestern portion. But finally, we do get a little love for the players that landed around here. We might be seeing, or maybe makes sense as to why so many other players are falling now. So many of the big names, because they haven't had the experience, at least in this tournament today, up in this section of the map. And that plays a big part into rotates and everything.
Yeah, you see there, Clicks was set up in the middle. On that elimination, he got on Blake. So he obviously has Pleasant Park now on lockdown. He got an elimination, got his Storm Surge, and hasn't had to move. He's just sitting in his box. So this could have been such a big game for Blake, but just like that, he goes down, and now Clicks has a chance to jump up there and maybe earn some extra money as Class in 2nd place right now. He came into this game 12 points behind Coop in 1st, so he needs to pick it up, needs to do something big. And as far as I'm aware, in Game 6 of the NA East Grand Final, Coop is still up and very much in the lead, and he's going to have to fall shortly if anyone's able to overtake this one. And that's why we have eyes on Class, because he's the one trying to do it, trying to jump up and take over that spot, and with a loadout to do it. 4 floppers, 3 crash pads, and almost max material. He's played this Game 6 at the same way he's played every other game, and now he's got 2 eliminations on the board, just kind of creeping towards that top 50.
That's right. The difference here is going to be eliminations.
Come
He's
on,
going to need to get
Batman.
closer
No one
and
wanna see
closer,
your
gather
shine.
more and more. If he wants to take a stab at the throne here, it's only going to be down to Class. Players like Accept, Booga. Now
but
that
see-
Dubs is out of the game as well. Because remember, coming in, Dubs was in 5th place. So now that he's out, that's it. There's no opportunity for him. He just has to hold strong for whatever prizing he can gather up towards the end here. On the other side, players that are climbing up. Nanolite, he bounced back from the terrible positioning on the outside of zone with the battle against Jack. He managed to make it work here, and now he's got a Vive on the backstorm line. He might find a freebie here, because Vive was tagged up pretty hard.
Viv was tagged up, and Nanolite, I don't know how he got his way back into this one, showing why he's one of the best placement players in this tournament, showing why he performs in
Move
big
it,
stat
fat
balls
boy.
all day. Upgraded
Batman.
with the AR. He's trying to get the move if he can, gets a bit more metal, gets a lot of metal, I believe. And now he's going to finish this one out, and Aviv goes down. You called him Monster, gets that
this
big
guy.
elimination close to the 2-point swing as well.
I've
as
been
that was
seeing
just
that guy with
inside
the
top
harpoon
50
gun
placements,
all the
as you see
game.
Colazo, Cody,
Somebody
and Nanolite
jumping
getting
his
pressured
box.
in on exactly FN, who's currently in 8th place, pushing an aggressive fight, and there it is, eyes on Coop. He's looking pretty good, Monster. 150, doesn't have the full shield, but everything else, the positioning is looking pretty good. As Coop, no, it's not.
Yeah,
21
this
builds.
guy.
Is this Storm Surge? He's 12 below on Storm
Fish
Surge.
ugly
This
stick,
is your
move
winner.
it.
This is your first place
Bot.
player in Game 6 in the lead with Storm Surge ticking. This player next to him knows, but as Coop does best, he comes out firing. Game 6, he's not going down. His story's not going to end like this. He wants to control it, but no. The third party comes in. Coop got his damage, but it might be too little too late. He's holding on to what little he has as it goes below 50, and Storm Surge changing up this lobby quickly. Coop could fall here, and maybe all eyes on Class, because Coop is looking the worst we've seen him all day.
This could still work, though, even without the medium bullets. He has the one crash pad to rotate him closer to half and half out. He's got a little bit of favor going into his pocket right now. We'll see,
Kick.
because if Coop falls, this leaves the table open. This leaves the opportunity up
This
for
other
players like
dude.
Class, Booga, or Accept to snatch away the crown here.
you can
We
fall.
talk about a few things need to go in your favor, is one of them being Coop needs to fall. We'll see, though.
Okay.
0 medium
He abused
ammunition.
me.
He can't do much right now. He is literally a sitting duck here with a charged shotgun and no follow-up. He's trying to
And this
find
is what
loot.
scares me.
But
I think
this
he needs
guy,
to crash pad in. I think
he's
he needs to
still
go for a
alive.
fight soon. The longer he leaves us, the harder it's going to be to find. And there it is. Bully comes out 10 health. Can Coop do
He
it? Can he get
talk
the
trash
one?
to me all the time.
Coop falls just inside top 50. 59 points. That is your mark. People at home who have just tuned in. First place has
That's
gone
why I
down
muted
on
him.
59 points. So when we tune into players like Class, like Accept, like Booger, who have a chance to overtake them, 59 points is their target. The speed has been set, and they will have seen that in the leaderboard. They will have seen that in the feed. They know that he's down, and they know they have a chance now. They can smell it. Victory might be attainable.
He says I am
Has
garbage.
his worst game of the day in the last game of the NA East FNCS Grand Finals.
Ask him who's winning.
That's right. The opportunity for the biggest share of $500,000 is now
Kick him,
accessible
please.
for everyone.
I can't. He joined the game.
Accept now. Inside the cone, he's
Somebody
just
in
sitting
the
there right
party.
now. Still has 5 crash pads as well, so good loadout, but he's got a lot of people around him. Needs to start finding his way through if he can, and the crash pads come out. I don't think those were his, they weren't. He's getting aggressed on, and he just crash pads out. Nice play by Accept, who is currently in 3rd place on 42 points now, so he's got 17 points behind Coop, as Class is the only player above him. So he can drop in as well as Accept can climb up there and try and overtake this position. And there it is, the elimination on the Colazo is going to be what does it.
That was so big. He's now at 44 points. He's getting closer and closer. Let's not forget, there's still other
Off
competitors over
emoji
here.
face with
There's still
symbols
a lot
on
here.
mouth.
Big launch pad to come out now to save so much material. He's
Just
trying to
mute
find
him.
out where to go. He even read the zone a little differently there for a second. Had to double check to make sure he was going in the right direction. Now, though, he's found himself in the mid ground, in the high layer. Click still alive, though, even after Elam onto Blake. Early on, still finding his frags here. So these are all players that are still trying to inch their way up to top 10 and break their way into a better placement for more money as well. Except looking back on the storm line now, trying to find any shots. There it is. There's one in front of him. Can he get it? Oh no, he's getting tagged up here, Ozzy. This is looking kind of dicey. Anyone can dive in on him.
Anyone can get in at any time, and he's trying to get inside, but at the same time, he can go in on anyone with those 4 crash pads, and we haven't seen Class too much in the feed, so Class is still up, and he's still pushing, he's still kicking, but he's not gearing up, he's not accelerating, he's not trying to take over that first place position. Coop is holding on to his lead, sitting back and watching this, and he has eyes on Accept, he has eyes on Class, and so far, it's looking good for him as we're seeing this one close out, and I've got eyes on Clicks, who is dropping big eliminations coming into this endgame. Booger in there as well in our 4th place, so we still have 3 of the top 4
Oh,
alive.
Booger's on
First
4th.
place taken out, and this is
I
what you
forgot
want to
about
see for a
Booger.
game. Closing out of Booger,
Oh.
picking up the pace. This is the gas. He's hitting the pedal. He's going forward, trying to find what he can to get back into this one to maybe take first place or a bigger chunk of this $500,000. He's going to keep pushing through, and we've talked about it. Booger is so good in his end games. I saw Class fly past the screen too, Monster. We'll have to see how he's closing this one out in 2nd place.
It's anyone's game, and Booker took out D-Roller, and that's why I gasped there, because that's huge.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, the response fire from Accept onto Dijon. Another point. Remember, he is so close now. If he can get this victory, if anyone can, that's it. But no, Accept's taking out the competition. His opportunities are over. Glass still alive. He's following up. He's got enough. 53 right now. He just has to stay in
Please.
it. 120 material
Please.
and flop versus play. A little bit in the zone now. Zone's not going to pop into
Please.
his favor, so he has to push through
Please.
now. It's an opportunity here. He needs to find someone. He's behind, sitting in the zone, though. Will these ticks be ones that he's going to regret? We'll find out now. He's going for the box fight. He's going
So
for
I
first
can
place.
hear
He
you.
wants the throne. He wants to take it here.
Oh,
Can
you-
he grab a crown?
you just
Right now,
mute him.
Class, no, loses
Mute
the
him, just
exchange
mute
to
him.
AJ, and it's all over for
Just
Class
press
now.
options
He's out
and
of the
just
game.
mute his name.
It's eyes on Booger. Booger can jump up here in a big way now. I don't know whether he can overtake Coop. This might be Coop's final lap, winning round. Watching this close out as we tune in with Who Fishy. Booger in 4th place is our highest player alive. Still left, and he falls.
Oh.
It is. This is Coop's tournament, but we have more money to give out, and we have more people to overtake. Coop has undeniably won this game, but Who Fishy pushing forward, trying to have his moment and jump up, finish the game's hot because he started a little bit cold. Highest elimination. 4 players alive. Can Who Fishy pick up the game 6 win? Bully. We have so many aggressive big names in this one. Bully on the high ground, pushing forward, has that position of command. Can he finish it off? And Bully is so good in the box. AJ falls. 3 players alive. This is the closing moments of NA East Grand Final.
I am in
Game
party
6.
channel.
Bully needs to close this one out. 30 points. He's had a big rise at the end. Can Who Fishy close it out too? Or is Zentil going to go down a storm? He's playing it slow on the low side. Can he get back out? Bully in such a good position. Has all the mats,
So
has
close.
everything. And Who
It's
Fishy
so
takes down
close.
Till. So it's Bully versus versus who fishy. Who's got the better aim? Who's got the better mechanics? As this is going to come down to
No
a
one
shot.
What
in
about
China.
you?
1v1. I
I
can't
was
see
in
either
game
going for the
channel.
heal off. No one's going to be able to close it out. It's Coop's day, but can Bully or who fishy close it out and get the win to stand on the podium at the very end? And it's Bully who does it. Who fishy falls, and Bully has a massive game back to jump into it, Monster.
That was a great one. Just like that, you see it all
Let's
unfold.
see.
And we talk about every engagement, even at the end. If you're in top 10, if you're fighting for those
You're
high
so loud
placements,
for me.
There's so much on the line, life-changing money here. $500,000. But as we said it, Coop did enough to hold out, stay strong, and keep the crown. It was so close, though. Booga almost had it. Class almost had it. And there you guys have it, your NA East champion, OA Coop. That is so massive for him. Finally taking a first.
I'm not allowed to use my mic.
win
I'm
home.
not allowed to use my mic. So you're just gonna have to tell me, okay, what to do, okay? Peace out, bro.
He didn't have that big win, but he played so well, and he's walking away with $50,000, Monster. $50,000, that is so huge. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. I've had the absolute pleasure and privilege of commentating every game of NA East, and they could not have disappointed. That was such a good finish.
Absolutely, and there you guys have it. That was the coverage from Monster D-Face Aussie Antics. What a ridiculous NA East Grand Finals. You guys showed up, and we appreciate you for it. We're going to send it on over to Zeke and the boys to bring us on home and close out the show.
There you have it.
Gag.
The final result there from NA East. Coop standing tall.
GG.
as the new
I just wanna see the
FNCS
leaderboard.
champion out of NA East. And of course, boys, we will break it all down. We'll take a look at the standings and see who else placed up in that top 5. But Sundown, this was absolutely an incredible day of so much action in Fortnite.
There was so much action, and it all came down to those Game 5, those huge performances, but Coop stuck with it in terms of the consistency, and even though he went down, he was able to outlast. And one thing we saw particularly during Europe, when
Booga
Tayson
came
had such a huge
fourth.
lead, you had to go, but Class
Sorry,
was
that
only
sounded
6
funny.
points
Stuff
behind
on
there at
yourself.
the end. There were still 17 players left when he ended up falling, so he could have made a run at it, but Coop will walk away with the champion, can see accept. Also, well done pushing up into the top 3. Booga in
59
4th,
points.
Nanolite in 5th, Zentil in 6th, OA Hoofishy in 7th. So Optimal Ambition going to be happy about today. Illis in 8th, 9th is Pigot, in 10th will be Pure Skittles, both with 40 points. So we talked about every single engagement mattering. Right there, the tiebreakers separating 9th and 10th.
I mean, just across the board. I could not be happier with how things have gone. NA East absolutely put on a show for us. It was neck and neck. As Shai mentioned before,
Oh,
these
dear
standings
Wola.
have changed,
He came
right? It was just a
20th.
constant
Wow, he
slugfest.
was on the
Coop,
first.
though, did manage to put all the pieces together, hold on until the very end. And now we get to close this chapter of the FNCS, crowning the champion in NA East. I mean, Sundown, I'm over the moon. I'm exhausted,
Can
but
you
I'm
whisper?
over the moon, full of excitement.
I mean, I'd be exhausted too. You did a great job
Please.
posting through the entirety of this. Let's flip on
Oh,
over here to the next page to
27.
cover that out. We can't
You're so
shine
loud.
Too much light here on Zeke as we see Calc in 21st, OA Crims in 22nd, Liquid Gabe 23rd, Colazo 24th, G-Den, Azures, Clicks, Kaz, Jacques, and Nexi rounding out the top 30 again. So congratulations to everyone for even making it here. It was a fantastic FNCS run, but at the end of the day, Coop is going to be the one walking away with the $50,000 and the Axe of Champions, and on top of it, the title as the best solo player in NA East.
On my TV.
So awesome. Congratulations to all the
Okay,
new
well.
FNCS champions. Sundown, before we go, any final words?
Honestly, I just want to say congratulations to everyone who's able to make it this far, and thank you so much to all of you watching, whether it's on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Fortnite.com, or coming through in Party Royale itself. Thank you so much for the time. It means the world to us, and it means the world to the players as well. Hopefully you enjoyed
Let us
the
leave
action,
now.
and we'll be back soon.
That's right. In season number 4, we are going
It
to
is
see the
over.
return of trios, so we look forward to that. With all that being said, thank you to all the casters that were on and
Well,
off the
that is
broadcast.
sad.
Please follow them. They're incredible. Until next time, Fortnite fam. We love you, and we'll see you on the Battle Bus.